skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hovels and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. 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 Don't fence me in.
Well, now, happy Friday to all of you, and yeah, busy morning this morning as we have, I don't know, it's 49 dead. It was 48 just a few minutes ago, and 49 dead now at a massacre at a New Zealand mosque there, and apparently an armed man, a Muslim with a gun, fired back at the guys who were doing the shooting. The New Zealand Herald is reporting that the guy with the gun fired on the shooters after they unleashed their gunshots on the mosque in Linwood. Apparently there were 4 different mosques attached to all this whole thing. And so now we have 49 dead and dozens injured, so that number is probably going to increase. But a guy with a gun is one of those who apparently was acting on their instincts and chasing after one of the shooters there. So we've got this developing story, and it was like 4 different mosques. The second mosque had the guy with the gun there who was chasing after the shooters. And so we're going to follow up on this. And of course, this is obviously one of those situations where the finest among the left always show through, and Ocasio-Cortez is already running her fat mouth over the whole thing, and what you get from the left in general are these sick kind of discussions about thoughts and prayers, and let's wait until Don Lemon gets out there and talks about, hey, thoughts and prayers aren't going to help you now. Where are your thoughts and prayers now? That kind of thing. Because she already tweeted out her response to the mosque shootings in New Zealand. And hers are, what good are your thoughts and prayers? Well, that's helpful, Ocasio-Cortez. So once again, we get the dumbest, most crass, mercenary minds among us who have come out of the woodwork and decided they're going to pop off. And why Ocasio-Cortez, again, continues to be the spokesman for the Democrat Party, why even it matters what Ocasio-Cortez thinks about this shooting, remains a complete and total mystery to me. It's confounding that the first stop for the news media or anybody else's or for Twitter is to find out what Ocasio-Cortez thinks. She's the one who did tweet this out, so it's not like people sought her opinion out, but that's what she's saying. But if you want to get the latest, we have the New Zealand government basically laying out what occurred here, and I'll give you a taste here from New Zealand as we their time changes a little bit different, but here you go.
However, there could be others involved. Also, there are multiple scenes involved in this incident as well, and police will be giving more details as they can as the situation unfolds. Whilst I cannot give any confirmation at this stage around fatalities and casualties, what I can say is that it is clear that this is one of New Zealand's darkest days. Clearly, what has happened here is an extraordinary and unprecedented act of violence. Many of those who will have been directly affected by this shooting may be migrants to New Zealand. They may even be refugees here. They have chosen to make New Zealand their home, and it is their home. They are us. The person who has perpetuated this violence, no place in New Zealand. There is no place in New Zealand for such acts of extreme and unprecedented violence, which it is clear this act was. For now, my thoughts, and I'm sure the thoughts of all New Zealanders, are with those who have been affected and also with their families. My thoughts also to those in Christchurch who are still dealing with an unfolding situation. The advice from police continues to be that people remain indoors. I acknowledge that may mean that some families are separated, but please continue to listen out for information as it comes to light that's been directly provided by the New Zealand Police with further information.
So that was the video that Ocasio-Cortez tweeted out with the "What good are your thoughts and prayers?" when they don't even keep the pews safe. I don't know what she means by they don't even keep the pews safe. Is that the government, or is that who is they? Who is those who don't keep the pews safe? And why is it the responsibility of they to keep the pews safe? That's what I'm wondering also. Although we want pews to be safe and we want houses of worship to be safe, I don't know who they are and why it is that they are responsible for that, for keeping the pews safe. But that's the world that Ocasio-Cortez lives in, where she doesn't have to be precise about anything. She just has to open her mouth and absolutely all at once the media will slobber all over her and treat her like she's the second coming and take her at her word. But I don't know who she means by they can't keep the pews safe. Because they would be us. In any other normal, actually well-adjusted mind, they would be us, right? Wouldn't they? Would they, Phil, would they be us? They can't even keep the pews safe? But in the mixed mind of this low IQ specimen named Ocasio-Cortez, I guess they would be the government. I don't know. But the thoughts and prayers thing is interesting because this is a typical and common type of derision of the way many Christians react to violence like this. And so Ocasio-Cortez has taken a religious attack, an attack on a religion, which is indefensible, but she's taken an attack on a faith, or actually, I don't really know what the motivation is here. But she's taken an attack on a mosque and decided this is her time to deride Christians and their common response to tragedies, which absolutely is right. People do say that they are offering their thoughts and prayers. There's nothing wrong with that. There's everything good about that. But this is her shot at Christians. And of course, no one in their right mind would do the opposite and decide that they're going to say, well, now you know how Americans feel every day at the hands of Muslim radicals. I guess you could say that, but you wouldn't. Right now, at least. Would you? I wouldn't. But I mean, if it got right down to that, wouldn't you, if you wanted to make this all about you and all about politics and all about those kinds of things, would you then decide that's going to be your response? When she says, no church is safe, and she brings up Charleston, Pittsburgh, and Sutherland Springs, and of course they bring up Charleston, and this is how the left operates. There's not a tragedy or an incident that's a horrible incident that they don't decide that they're going to make it into something that benefits them. I won't be surprised if Ocasio-Cortez, in her dark soul nature, decides to raise money on this. I can't wait for Cortez's first fundraising letter on the shooting here. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, speaking of that, CNN, this guest on CNN decides that...
Let's talk about this. You heard what the Prime Minister... I'm going to bring you in, Mehdi, because this kind of thing, as you said before, is personal to you, and it speaks to the violence that is going on in our culture. So
what happens is that you're off to the races here now, because you have people like Don Lemon and other anchors on the air acting like they were shot. They sit there with their long faces and droning voices and act as if they are. And they won't say thoughts and prayers because they can't do that. Don Lemon won't do that because he was one of the first out of the blocks to deride the thoughts and prayers thing, right? Remember that? Forget about your thoughts and prayers, when he was in one of his moments where he's actually sober on the air. Forget about your thoughts and prayers. That kind of his bitter, kind of making up for all kinds of things he lacks on the air. So, you're off to the races here because everybody's got their long faces on and they've got to make this out to be some kind of atmospheric situation where somehow this has to be Donald Trump's fault. And they didn't wait long, I'll tell you that. On CNN, they didn't wait long.
To you, and it speaks.
By the way, Don's wearing his glasses today. Because in order to be sufficiently in mourning and serious, the first move of a shallow anchor is to pick up their glasses and put them on, because that makes them serious and that makes them sincere, is when they have their glasses on. Some are better at it than others, but for the most part, like for instance, Chris Hayes wears them all the time, but that's only because that's so he doesn't look like a girl dressed up in a three-piece suit. But nonetheless, so he can actually add whatever level of masculinity you can actually add to that specimen. But nonetheless, Don Lemon wears his glasses because this is serious now. I'm not just calling President Trump a racist and a this. I'm not just cajoling President Trump here. I got to put my glasses on to be sufficiently serious about this terrible tragedy so everybody knows I'm really serious about this. There's a serious moment in American whatever he's going to talk about. Man, what a jackass. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, but I mean, it's just this is CNN, the world's most important network, everybody. So he's this guy named. I'm looking at three people I don't even know who they are. This is my life we're watching CNN. Another panel of people I know who I have no idea who they are. But when you're 24-hour news and you must have a 9-member panel, you're just grabbing anybody you can off the street. And if their name is Mehdi or whatever, that makes it even better, especially in a mosque shooting situation. So let her rip, Don.
To you, and it speaks to the violence that is going on in our culture.
Very much so. And I think to kind of talk about the story we were talking about before in terms of Trump's rhetoric as well, Western governments for far too long have turned a blind eye to domestic terrorism, to domestic far-right terrorism.
A weekend in Chicago is suddenly important to these people. Oh, no, actually, it's not important to these people because it's in Chicago. This is a weekend in Chicago. Well, I mean, maybe 2 weekends. Has Don Lemon ever put his glasses on for a weekend in Chicago to talk about the violence in our culture? No, of course not. Does Don Lemon even mention that as his fellow blacks murder each other by the dozens? I don't think so. But these people all pull out all the stops for this one.
More attacks, more casualties from domestic terrorist groups, far-right groups, than there are from quote-unquote jihadist or Islamist groups. You have Muslim victims of terrorism tonight in New Zealand. I mentioned the attack in Canada, Quebec City, shortly after Trump was inaugurated. There have been attempted attacks and attacks in Minnesota, in various places across the U.S. We do need to start taking this seriously. Hate crimes against minorities, against Jewish groups, against Muslim communities, against people of color are on the rise in Britain, across Western Europe, United States, Canada, Australia, and now, sadly, New Zealand. And
what do they call it when blacks murder each other? Is that the tree falling in the forest that you don't hear because you're not there? Or I'm just trying to figure out what that is, because that's ignored.
And that requires politicians to take the problem seriously and also to deal with their language. You asked Matthew earlier about, is there someone out there tonight who's going to hear Trump's rhetoric and act on it?
Right.
I mean, less than 6 months ago, we know one of his...
So that didn't take long. That they tying this to President Trump and whatever. What did President Trump say recently that would engender some kind of person to go shoot up a mosque? That I have no idea. What would garner that kind of response? What did he say? Anything recently? Other than trying to keep violent, radical Muslims out of the country?
I think he said something about Beto's hands.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Last thing I heard.
Yeah. Well, he's right about Beto's hands. He's got some hands going too, but, not as much as Beto does. But yeah, it didn't take them long to blame this on President Trump. So we'll take your phone calls on the calltammy.com real estate listener line, 844-855-1380. And this is going to be an interesting morning. I'm trying to stay positive. I haven't even gotten to the Roy Blunt situation, which is really bad. This is what happened. What happened yesterday in the Senate and Roy Blunt's vote is indefensible. We asked him to come on the air to defend it, but he said he'll come on later, which is maybe what I should have told him when he and his wife wanted me to meet him at a hotel when they were freaking out after because Jason Kander, they were afraid they were going to lose to him, and they wanted advice from me. Maybe I should have said, I can't right now. I'll talk to you later. Maybe I should have said that to him. Okay, we'll talk more about that. 844-855-1380. This is Allman in the Morning. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Checking our area roadways this morning. Not too much action if you're out and about. That's great news. Could see some showers before 7, then some sprinkles later on this morning, so use some extra caution as roadway is going to be a little bit wet. Emergency crews are working a crash already. They're blocking off the left lane on the westbound side of 270 as they deal with an accident just after Riverview. That's going to cause a brief delay through the Chain of Rocks Bridge, but most everything else, including westbound and eastbound 6440, rolling incident-free. This traffic report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Rick Pogue here with Arrowhead Building Supply, the region's #1 specialty exterior building supplier. Arrowhead has the widest range of exterior products, from the most economical and commodity items to our highest-end outside elegance collection. If you need a contractor, Arrowhead supplies products to hundreds of the best contractors and builders in the business. Call us for a contractor referral and rest easy. The Arrowhead Cube Home Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change it with just a touch of your finger. Now you can be 100% confident in your selections before they are installed in your home. Our product showrooms are the largest and most beautiful in the industry. We make it simple to experience a full range of siding, roofing, window, door, deck, and even stone options for your home or business. Check us out at arrowheadbuildingsupply.com or visit an Arrowhead showroom near you today in St. Peters, Missouri, Pee Wee, Missouri, and Fairview Heights, Illinois. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success. arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
You see them all around town. Cintas trucks and their service reps taking care of customers. When companies use Cintas, you know they're confident and ready. Cintas helps with their fire protection and first aid and safety programs, handles their apparel solutions, and helps keep their facility and restrooms clean and stocked. So you know those companies care about their employees, facilities, and image. When all those things work together, they're ready for business.
Oh, I'm ready.
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Hey, don't just listen to Allman in the Morning. See the show at theanswerstl.com. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Welcome back. This is All in the Morning. It's Common Sense Radio. Calltammy.com. Real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. I know you guys want to talk about this, but I have a very special guest on the line here. It is Guy Benson from Town Hall. And Guy, thank you very much for joining us, buddy. And I know you're on a short period of time, but I'm also on a I got to go to a break here in just about a minute. So is it possible that I can hold you over after I get your initial comments? Is that all right, buddy?
Unfortunately not. I'm just arriving at an airport. But go ahead.
All right, friend. So, this is hard. In the commentary, this is hard because we don't know a lot exactly about what's going on, but we do know this is an attack on a mosque. So, what are you thinking in terms of what you've seen so far?
Well, it's gut-wrenching to see people killed practicing their faith anywhere in the world, no matter the faith or by whom, is just truly sickening, and we seem to see it all too frequently. I've been to New Zealand, and I can't think of a more beautiful place or more warm, welcoming people. And to have something like this happen the way that it has, I really had trouble sleeping, honestly, having read it last night. And I know some people want to diminish the power of prayer, but my prayers are with the people of New Zealand and that community in particular today. What an absolutely disgusting, stomach-turning tragedy.
Yeah, and Guy, it's interesting how we suddenly find a situation where everybody is trying to look for some kind of political position to take on this matter, And I appreciate the fact that, while we're watching people mock thoughts and prayers and that kind of thing, or gun control, whatever, we're finally having just look at this as something as a human tragedy is the best way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something almost demented about you see that almost 50 people have been murdered in a house of worship, and your immediate response is, what's my political reaction? I mean, there's going to be, I'm sure, time for that, and I think some of the usual talking points don't apply because it's the other side of the world, different laws, different culture in some ways. But I think, within the first few hours or even the first day of reaction, it's how about just focusing on the unbelievable loss of human life and the unfathomable evil? If there's any question in anyone's mind that evil exists and that it's not tidily confined to one group or another, I think we've been once again reminded that is a reality that we face in this world, and it's just so sad.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it. But I think we're going to spend a lot of the day reacting to these reactions, as you pointed out, that some people are having to them, and instead it just becomes another bouncing ball in the political spectrum. But I appreciate your saliency on this. And on a lighter note, Guy, Marie Harf's dad lives here in town. We've talked to him on my show before. I just let her know that. We've talked to her dad. You guys have a good show there, so I just want to let you know you guys are knocking it out. So
thank you. And he's a terrific guy too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so he's from St. Louis, so he's a good man. All right, well, Guy, thank you. Safe travels to you, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy morning to chat with us really quickly.
You bet.
All right, take care. That's Guy Benson from Town Hall. This is Common Sense Radio.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Emergency crews already busy this morning as they work an accident blocking off the left lane westbound 270 just past Riverview. Watch for brake lights to come on back to the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Not much of a delay as traffic volume remains pretty light this morning. Things are moving well on the westbound side of 6440 between 170 and 270. Eastbound delay free from 170 and Laclede Station. Eastbound 270, trouble-free between Lindbergh and New Florissant, while on the southbound side of 170, checking the jam cam at Forest Park to show not much action. This traffic report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Mothers Against Drunk Driving supports victims of drunk driving, drug driving, and underage drinking at no charge. Call their 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
1380, The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and a little bit cooler today. Winds from the west-northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and cold this evening. Winds from the west-northwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour, low 30. Mostly sunny and chilly for Saturday, high 50. Sunday, partly sunny and cool, high 51. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Joe Walsh says Michael Cohen doesn't matter.
I don't think really anything Michael Cohen said really matters. I think what matters is what Robert Mueller is going to say. It was the airing of a bunch of dirty laundry. None of that matters to me. It was good stuff, good theater, but it doesn't matter. What matters is what Mueller has.
The Joe Walsh Radio Program. Weeknights at 8 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stimulating talk.
Glock days are back at Danny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Site upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a site purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Black Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
Listen to Allman in the Morning with Alexa. Wake up and say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
What's up, everybody? Good morning this morning. Good morning this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Well to do up and down Park Avenue on that famous thoroughfare.
Turn that music down, mister. What are you trying to do to me? We gotta get some happy vibes going in here, dude. Turn that thing down.
For a wonderful time.
Give me some.
Now if you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on Ritz. Different types of wear a day coat.
1380 1053 The Answer. Call Tammy.com listener line 844-855-1380. Yep. All hell breaking loose down there in New Zealand. Is it down there? I don't know. It's down there. It's down enough, according to my globe. But, 49 dead. It's a terrible thing. Guy Benson just talked about how it was already ultimately being politicized, and that's the way of the world. I mean, Ocasio-Cortez, who opens her fat mouth again on Twitter, where all good things go to die, decided she was going to talk about how thoughts and prayers don't matter, whatever. So I'm going to try to avoid, obsessing over the idiots that are going to turn this into something other than just simply a tragedy that has no solution, no nothing. You can ban all the bump stocks you want. One thing I got to get used to is talking to people who have blocked me on Twitter. That's going to be a new development for me. I hope I was thinking, does Guy Benson remember who I am? I hope not. Because, Guy Benson was, he's a good guy. Mark my words. I'm not saying anything bad about him, but back in the day, he was a never Trumper, right? So it was an uncomfortable situation with that whole thing. And so I would go to Twitter when he would say something and I would tweet him something, and I think he blocked me. So it was nice of him to still come on, even though I think some back in his mind, like vaguely remembers. My name vaguely sounds familiar. So I'm hoping he's too busy getting on an airplane to kind of like go back and say, who's Jamie Allman? Does his name sound familiar? Oh, I blocked him on Twitter after he attacked me. That's the problem with, there are a lot of people who, generally I try to make his friends with everybody and be friendly with everybody. And I don't really purposely make enemies. But I'm just saying some people just, along the way, you've kind of had issues and maybe had some things going on. But all's fair in love and war, and now everybody's in love. So we're good. We're fine. Just want to let you know. Michael is on line one. Michael, thanks for holding on, my friend. How you doing?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Oh, there you are again. What's going on, brother?
Yes. No, quick question.
Yeah.
And I guess I should address this to Mr. Limon. Did all these terrorist attacks, did any of them happen when Obozo was president? Or is it all Trump's fault?
Yeah.
Did it happen when Bush? Or did it happen with Clinton? What's the story? This guy's such a buffoon.
I know. Well, and plus this is some insinuations about that whatever's going on in New Zealand, they're like picking up on something Trump said, even though Trump has not said anything about Muslims or what have you. And so I don't really understand how this can be dovetailed into it's Trump's fault for his rhetoric thing. I just don't understand that, but get used to it.
Well, the college scandal's Trump's fault too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they actually did try to make that into a Trump thing.
I know
also.
They did.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I was referring to.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It really is.
Right.
And, my suggestion to people, I think, today is once my show is over, I would just disengage. I mean, I would listen to the station and everything else, but I wouldn't pay attention to these other people because you're really just, this is all you're going to hear today is somebody trying to angle this into something that will help them. And that's a shame, but it happens.
We'll wait for Beto and Ocasio to speak their mind.
God, this Beto thing is just unbelievable.
Right.
Okay, thanks, brother. I mean, this guy is, I mean, boy, I want to be a big toothed white dude. You got a free pass. Roll your sleeves up and everything else, and marry an heiress, and talk about nothing, and having done nothing. I think the blacks are onto something when they talk about white privilege, because he's actually a pretty good example of that. I'm just joking really about white privilege, but you know what I'm saying is that if anybody looks like they got quite the free skate, it's Beto O'Rourke. In fact, I didn't even know. Of course, I wouldn't know automatically, but I didn't even know he was a congressman. I mean, the guy has never given a floor speech, never introduced any legislation, never did anything. He's the Jeff Flake of the Democrat Party. He's a do-nothing guy, and here he is all of a sudden, the second coming. And I was wrong about the networks. The networks actually love him. I thought maybe they wouldn't like him because he wasn't the right color or didn't speak the right language. But wow, man, did he have an easy time yesterday. But we'll talk about that. And also we're going to have to talk about the Roy Blunt factor and Roy Blunt voting against the president on this state of emergency thing. And that has infuriated all of you. I've seen the Facebook posts, I've seen the Twitter posts, and I've seen all of the reactions from you and how Roy Blunt thought this was going to be a good idea to be one of the few Republicans and among the usual suspects who defied President Trump on this matter, which is a easily defensible move on the part of the president. How you can decide that you're going to take this vote against him is beyond me. We asked the senator to come on the air with us, and we got a "we'll come on later" response from him, which there's a reason why we asked him to be on the air is because we want him on the air now and not later. And why, if this vote is such a proud vote of yours, why wouldn't you be all over the map defending it? He went on CNN to defend it. He'll defend it to Allison Camerata. Why won't he defend it to you? I mean, he'll defend it to Don Lemon and CNN. Why won't he defend it in front of you? You need to ask yourself that question. Hey, Lori is on line 2. Hi, Lori. Thanks for calling the show. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to say maybe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is against thoughts and prayers because she's going to physically go to New Zealand and donate her money and time to try and help them recover from this tragedy.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to updates on her Twitter about her upcoming trip.
Yeah, because she wants to put her thoughts and prayers into action. That's what she's all about, right? She wants to forget all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, forget all of us shallow people who offer thoughts and prayers. You know, she's gonna roll her sleeves up. I'm sorry, no, that's Beto. She's gonna put her boots on. I'm sorry, no, that's Melania. She's going to whatever she's gonna do. She'll be on it. Lori,
she's got a paycheck now that she's not a bartender, so
right.
So she can use that to go over.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Take care.
All right, Lori.
Bye.
Thank you, dear.
Bye.
Love that deadpan commentary from Lori. That's awesome. CallTammy.com real estate listener line is 844-855-1380 if you want to chime in on this. This is going to be the big news of the day. Obviously, the 49, it'll probably increase in terms of the death toll there. And this was taking place at 4 different mosques, and it was seemingly a well-organized kind of effort, a terrorist attack, obviously, on these mosques. We don't exactly know the cause. We don't know what was going on there. No one is essentially yet claiming responsibility, but we certainly will bring you up to date on that whole thing and let you know if anybody actually does say anything about what their motivation was here. But clearly, it's another example of, well, a mass shooting, and it's a mass shooting in another foreign country, and I'm not quite sure they will explore this as a mass shooting the way they explore it in the U.S., which is constantly about gun control and gun laws. It turns out it was a guy with a gun that apparently chased one of the shooters. So a person was armed and chased them. So that became a deal. By the way, did you hear about the school shooting in Brazil, where 8 people were killed at a school in Brazil? Yeah, I didn't think so. It's funny how they have, you'd think that, the U.S., every time they try to impose their will on your gun rights, they bring up things that happen in the U.S. and they act like it only happens in the U.S. when it happens everywhere. Yeah, this shooting in Brazil, the only reason I knew about it is because I went on LiveLeak, where they have, video of every terrible thing happening. And they had video of this school shooting in Brazil. 8 people were killed at this school. And it was a pretty bad situation, but I didn't hear anything about it. And presumably because the United States of America is the only evil one, right? This is the only place where mass shootings take place, right? Is the United States of America. So I don't know how they're going to couch this. I guess the only way they're going to be able to get around this whole situation, and we'll talk about New Zealand's gun laws and everything else in the 7:00 hour. We'll also have Doug Giles on the way, too. Doug is on fire and he over this whole thing. And also have a little snippet to play from Doug's Warrior and Wild Man podcast, which is really good. It's a 3-minute segment, but it is a talk about why if you don't have any masculine men in your church, he's got a good reason why. And he'll explain all that to you as well. And I'm going to sit down eventually because I have a half-inch hole in my leg right now. If you guys, I'm not going to show it to you, but I have a half-inch hole in my leg right now. Do I look like I have a half-inch hole in my leg, Phil? I don't, do I? I have a half-inch hole in my leg after I was attacked by that fence when I did the wrong thing and didn't call the fence guy first. I called him second. So I went out in the windstorm we had not too long ago when 2 big gigantic parts of my fence were taken out, and my yard butts up to a busy road. My backyard does, and I couldn't have the hole in my fence just opening up to the backyard, to the back of a street. That actually winds up being also a path that goes from the criminal import terminal known as Metrolink. So that's where all the criminals get off the train and start to spread out into varieties of neighborhoods. And so I had a compelling interest to keep that hole in my fence from staying there longer. So I had to get out there and tackle it. So I went out there and these big gigantic fence, and these are heavy. and it was windy, and it was crazy. And so I got out there, but I still wanted to prop the fences up because I needed to get them somehow there. And my first step was just simply to lean them up against each other and also use a very heavy bird bath to put up against the fence to keep it from bowling over. Yeah, it looks like that. And so the bird bath. So lo and behold, it's still windy. So the gusts of wind first blow the big gigantic part of the fence into my shin, and that was hurting, but it wasn't bad. It was just like a bruise type of thing. Then I put it back up, and then the bird bath top rolled over my foot, and then after that I said, well, I'll just try to see if I could nail this thing. So I got some nails and a hammer and tried to nail it together, and then the other part of the fence then drilled into my other part of my shin and cut me there. That was bleeding, so that bled through my pants. But the other one created this hematoma, it was like a gigantic ball of blood on my shin. Eventually, it didn't look very good after a while, and so I finally had to go to the Missouri Baptist Wound Care Center yesterday. I finally went ahead and, on the advice of my doctors, I went there to get it taken care of because it was turning. I'm not going to bother you with the details, but it was turning black. I was afraid they were afraid it was going to bounce back into my shin, and all I was thinking of was flesh-eating bacteria and all those other nightmare things that happen to you, I had to have my leg cut off or something. So I thought, well, I better get over to the Missouri Baptist Wound Care Center. And I'll be darned if I love these people over there. Sarah, Stacy, Michelle, Mindy, and Allison. The nurses, the people who are taking good care of me, and Dr. Ludwig, who is a former vascular surgeon, 65 years as a vascular surgeon. I think he said 65 years. I hope I'm not. And then he decided to retire and do wound care. And so it was great. And Lori's at the office too, but she's the only one I didn't see. So Dr. Ludwig came in, and they shot me full of this stuff, like this numbing thing, and then just dug that thing out of my skin. It was pretty crazy watching all that happen. I have to tell you that they were really nice to me, though, and I have there's something about when that's happening, it tends to make your palms sweat just a little bit when that's going on. But they were very nice over there at the Wound Care Center at Missouri Baptist, and gotta love the nurses and the people in the medical field who deal with this stuff every single day. And I was no exception, but they were really good to me, and I really appreciated Dr. Ludwig and Sarah, Stacy, Michelle, Mindy, and Allison over there at the Missouri Baptist Wound Care Centers. I'm doing fine. They told me not to stand today, so I'm eventually going to have to sit. I'm going to have to actually sit down, but it'll be fine. Everything's good as long as I don't get some kind of weird flesh-eating bacteria that invades the area. I'll be fine. So I think that'll be okay. At least as long as I can still work out and do what I'm doing, I'm good. I'm always good. I think next week I got to go back to them, and they're going to put some kind of compression thing on me. I don't know. It's fine. All I'm saying is, in the future, just call a fence guy. Call somebody. But, if they can't get over there, I had a compelling interest to get it taken care of right away. I didn't want these hood rats coming off into my yard from the criminal import terminal known as Metrolink. And so I had to get that fence closed. That was my compelling interest. I had a compelling reason why I wanted to get that done. Hey, call the Tammy.com real estate listener line. It's 844-855-1380. This is Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Watch for some areas of some wet roadways as we're going to see some showers on and off through the morning rush. Crew is already dealing with a crash that's blocking the left lane westbound 270 just past Riverview. Traffic only skates by in the right lane, but because traffic volume is still a bit light at this early morning hour, creating a minimal delay back to the Chain of Rocks Bridge. The good news is north and southbound 270 still look good. Eastbound 6440 rolling well between 170 and Big Bend. You're delay free on the westbound side between Mason and 141. This traffic report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You could help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
This is Dennis Prager. I want to invite you to join me for a travel opportunity that may be the highlight of your year, maybe even one of the highlights of your life. I'm headed back to Israel in December 2019 for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour. A tour of the key sites and places meant to give you an unprecedented view of a world you've likely only read or heard about. Come home inspired, renewed, and empowered by the experience if you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel. This is your opportunity.
Book your trip at theanswerstl.com.
Attention gun enthusiasts. Interested in purchasing a suppressor, but worried the new gun laws might make it a tough process? Razorback Armory in Des Peres is your home for the new Silencer Shop kiosk system. No need to go to several locations to prepare for your application, photo submissions, and fingerprint cards. Still have questions? Razorback Armory has answers. Visit the pros at Razorback Armory in Des Peres, just east of 270 on Manchester. RazorbackArmory.com.
Rick Pogue here with Arrowhead Building Supply, the region's #1 specialty exterior building supplier. Arrowhead has the widest range of exterior products, from the most economical and commodity items to our highest-end outside elegance collection. If you need a contractor, Arrowhead supplies products to hundreds of the best contractors and builders in the business. Call us for a contractor referral and rest easy. The Arrowhead Cube Home Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change it with just a touch of your finger. Now you can be 100% confident in your selections before they are installed in your home. Our product showrooms are the largest and most beautiful in the industry. We make it simple to experience a full range of siding, roofing, window, door, deck, and even stone options for your home or business. Check us out at arrowheadbuildingsupply.com or visit an Arrowhead showroom near you today in St. Peters, Missouri, Peewee, Missouri, and Fairview Heights, Illinois. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success.
arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
KXFN St. Louis, K287BY St. Louis.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
The Dana Show, this afternoon at 1. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
I'm watching all the long faces over there at CNN. Because they just interviewed Michael Smerconish. Yeah, have you guys had enough of him yet? You know, Michael Smerconish used to fill in for Bill O'Reilly on the radio show, and Smerconish is one of these insufferable people who are so rudderless in their principles. You don't even know where they stand half the time. They just stand wherever is convenient for them, and Smerconish has become kind of this semi-conservative, liberal, whatever. It used to be actually a useful person. Now he's only useful to CNN. But he's on there, and they're all have their long faces on over the mosque shootings, which, of course, are terrible. But their long faces are because of the atmosphere that Trump has created. So they're talking about, you're going to hear a million times that language matters and words matter. And those of us with a responsibility to talk blah, blah, blah need to stop blah, blah, blah. And so it's going to be long face central over there at CNN. And this will wind up by the end of the day being all of Donald Trump's fault. That's the shame of it all. The people are so predictable. It's kind of crazy. All right, we're going to talk about the Roy Blunt factor. Voting against the president yesterday. People are livid here in Missouri. We'll talk more about that straight ahead.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. Armit Thomason. New Zealand is in shock following a terror attack on two mosques that left at least 49 people dead, dozens wounded.
The first attack was at the Masjid Al-Nur Mosque in central Christchurch. Ramzan Ali says the shooting lasted about 20 minutes.
What I did was basically waiting for that and praying to God, oh God, please, let this guy run out of bullets.
Ali says a man who told him not to go back inside was himself shot by the gunman.
I don't want to talk about it because it took me about probably half an hour before my shaking stopped.
Authorities later confirmed a second attack at the Linwood Masjid Mosque. A man claiming responsibility for the shootings left a 74-page anti-immigrant manifesto. I'm Mike Gracia.
4 people have been arrested, one of them charged with murder. And this from Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison.
I can confirm that the individual who was taken into custody, I've been advised, is an Australian-born citizen.
The BBC's Howell Griffith says the bloodshed has stunned New Zealand, a country where such violence is unheard of.
This woman was driving near the mosque and stopped to help the injured.
The guy I was compressing, he was trying to ring his wife, and I managed to get it, and I answered the phone, and I said to her, your husband's been shot outside the mosque. I said, and don't come here to Deans Ave, you won't get through, but please go to the hospital, wait for him. And then I kept talking to him and telling him that she was at the hospital waiting and he wasn't to give up.
New Zealand's Prime Minister calling this one of her country's darkest days. President Trump isn't expected to waste any time vetoing a congressional resolution that blocks his southern border emergency declaration. Mr. Trump's very first veto could come later today. North Korea says it may resume missile development and testing, may end nuclear talks with the U.S. Wall Street, Dow futures up 117 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Roads might be a little bit wet if you're stepping out the door this morning with some rain showers passing through the area. Already have emergency crews working a crash blocking off the left lane westbound 270 just after Riverview. That delay's thickened up just a tad back to the Canal Bridge. But you're looking good on the westbound side of 70, right near 270. Eastbound 70 looks all right between the Earth City Expressway and St. Charles Rock. Delay free still on the northbound side of 270 between Gravois and Manchester. The rest of our area roads getting the early thumbs up. This traffic report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cooler today. Winds from the west-northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour. High 45. Clear and cold this evening. Winds from the west-northwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour. Low 30. Mostly sunny and chilly for Saturday. High 50. Sunday, partly sunny and cool. High 51. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dennis Prager finds substance in Trump.
The elites love form. They love you to sound sophisticated in the NPR way. A certain monotone which betrays a little emotion. As my wife put it, Obama had form without substance. This president has substance without form.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekday mornings at 11 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. stimulating talk.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand with Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please.
I love the term "beclown." That's just a funny term to me. When you beclown yourself, that's a really awesome term. Whoever invented that is really good. Used sparingly, it's a fabulous description of people being foolish on television and beyond. So I think I totally miscalculated the effect of Beto O'Rourke on the media. I thought for sure that this guy was way too sunny and happy, big teeth, white duty for the news media to glom onto. That he wasn't minority enough and wasn't left enough. Although he definitely is left. I'm not saying that, but he doesn't come across that way. Because, his whole vibe is, I'm not going to criticize anybody throughout this campaign. I'm only going to talk about how awesome my shirt sleeves are and how much I look like Robert Kennedy. That's all I'm going to do the entire time. And so I thought, well, that's not going to help, because aren't you supposed to call Trump a racist and a misogynist and say that you're fighting for the future of the world and having to unseat the demon white devil, Donald Trump? Isn't that the way you're supposed to talk? But he wasn't talking like that. So I thought, well, the media won't have much use for him. But apparently the news media is so fatigued by having to cover these three clowns in Congress, the new Congress people, this Muslim nut Ilhan Omar and Tlaib, who loves calling people racists, and Ocasio-Cortez, who doesn't seemingly have a brain in her head. I think the media is so tired of covering them and so fatigued by it and looking for any kind of light at the end of the tunnel, looking for any kind of avenue to actually cover somebody who resembles somebody who's sane, that when Beto O'Rourke comes along, they're like, love him. They're like, it's again, like I point out, it's like Marilyn Munster. It's like there's some kind of like, oh, thank goodness there's like a regular person we can cover now. And so I guess that's why they were just slobbering all over Beto O'Rourke yesterday. Because for the news media, I think sometimes they do love covering these nutbags. But I think they love covering them because they are just nutbaggy enough to do their bidding in terms of calling people racist and that kind of stuff. So they'd like to cover them, but I don't really think they're not really their style. I'm not giving them an excuse, but they like this idea of having, these renegades, but only to a certain degree. The news media likes their minorities to only go so far, but really they just want to keep them quiet. They're just useful to bring out every once in a while as a as a hammer to call Whitey a racist or whatever. So I thought maybe they would have little use for a Beto O'Rourke, but apparently this is just them clinging to this life raft named Beto or Beto or whatever his name. It's Robert, right? I mean, right? Why do they call him? Why do they call him that? I guess is that his effort to kind of look minority-y by calling him Beto, like calling it, because that's really not a. Is anybody named Robert called that? Do you all know anybody named Robert who you call? Is it you have an Uncle Beto? Do you? I'm sorry, but I'm trying to figure out where did that come from. Is he? I don't know. I mean, he comes from. He went to the hottest schools and married an heiress and went to Congress and did nothing. Lost to Ted Cruz, and now suddenly he's the second coming. How is that possible? I mean, it's almost like they're just trying to make him into a.
He sat down with Oprah, posed for
a white Obama, and Obama's like, I mean, Beto is more underaccomplished than Obama was. And Obama was pretty underaccomplished. I mean, Obama, when he became the second coming after that speech at the convention, Obama was basically a clipboard-carrying law school grad and became a U.S. senator or a state senator and then lucked into this position. But I mean, you think Obama had accomplished nothing. Beto is even more underaccomplished. But he did appear on Oprah, according to this fangirl on CBS.
He sat down with Oprah,
ABC.
posed for Vanity Fair, but today, for the first time ever, Beto O'Rourke came here to Iowa to talk to voters.
Hey, everybody! What's up?
The former Congress.
I mean, do any of these people even know who he is? Hey, everybody, what's up? It's like, who are you? I guess you're supposed to be there. I don't know.
Swarmed with cameras. Just hours earlier, he'd announced his presidential campaign.
Boy, and he kept his wife quiet through that whole thing. That whole video he had. His wife just sat there and smiled. He's got her trained. She didn't say a word. You'd think, actually, if you made a video and your wife is sitting there, that you would actually let her talk, like, or maybe just say something, just as a token kind of offering to your wife. You're making her sit there and smile, and I'm sure she's a nice person, and I'm sure he is too. But you'd think that if you had a video, where you had your wife in there, you would want to at least pretend that you respected her or thought of her more than just because he's got a couch and a picture and a lamp and a wife. It's kind of like, dude, the three of those four can't talk, and one that does is your wife. You might want to have her say something, like just, hi, everybody, or something like that. Oh, Beto, or whatever. But she doesn't say anything.
His wife, Amy, by his side.
This is a defining moment of truth for this country and for every single one of us.
Moving and here's what's even worse. If you watch the video, he's because he's so avuncular. I'd love to see him dance. He probably dances like every other white dude out there. Like, well, let's see. Let me see him dance to Proud Mary, which nobody can dance to at a wedding. Why do they keep playing Hey, Phil, why do they keep playing Proud Mary at weddings when people can't dance to Proud Mary?
Yeah, that's a good question. Moni Moni is another one.
It's impossible to dance to Moni Moni, too. But they still play that song at weddings. And usually what they do is they play it in between like a Michael Jackson song and something you can dance to, So you're standing out there on the floor waiting for the next song, but you still have to be out there, and Moni comes on. And you just have to stand there and do whatever you're doing. But anyway, so Beto's on the couch. And because he's so jerky with his speaking style, and he always is flailing his arms like he's got some kind of thing going on there. And so the couch is shaking. And so his wife, who he has apparently ordered to stay quiet, is bouncing alongside of him to his jerky movements. So it's kind of like when you have a baby in your hand or something and you're talking, and the baby's just like, somebody's very animated and the baby's just sitting there shaking and moving its arm, trying to figure out what you're doing, I've had 5 of them, so I'm used to. That's why I'm just using the baby example. But so he's flailing his arms while he's talking, and of course she's in the background. But the couch and the couch cushions are shaking, and so she's shaking along with the couch cushions after having been ordered to be quiet. So it's even more funny to watch that whole thing. I'm sure they're nice people, though.
O'Rourke burst onto the national scene last year with his vigorous challenge to Senator Ted Cruz, electrifying massive crowds, sharing his life on Instagram.
Keep in mind, I'm not taking him seriously, by the way. He did run an amazing campaign against Ted Cruz, which I think even surprised Ted Cruz, and he raised a lot of money. So his timing is really good at this point because he's coming into the Democrat Party at a time when it's being run by crazies. I mean, it's literally being run by nuts. And so Beto's timing is perfect. In any other era, any other time, Beto would just kind of disappear into the woodwork. But now I compared to Marilyn Munster, now he's a shining light. He's an oasis of the way things used to be, just like a normal guy running for president, like a Bill Clinton-y, Kennedy type of guy. And so his timing is perfect right now. People are going, why are you running for president? Well, because I'm the only seemingly acceptable, normal Democrat out there. And by the way, his normalcy is abnormal in itself. I mean, he's a Green Deal guy. He's a left-wing crazy. He's to the left of Bernie Sanders almost. But that doesn't really matter at all right now. He's just not Ilhan Omar. He's not Nancy Pelosi. He's not Tlaib. He's not Ocasio-Cortez. He's not Joe Biden. So it's no wonder Democrats are just seizing on him. I guarantee you every white liberal who lives along Ladue Road is loving Beto O'Rourke. He's their new white Obama. And so every time they're confronted in some way, shape, or form with the with Ilhan Omar, they'll say no, but Beto O'Rourke is my kind of guy. He's my kind of Democrat. So I admire his ability to market himself, raise money, and his timing is perfect. Because people who are tired of the nuts are going to cling to him like barnacles on a whale. But are they barnacles or what are those on whales? Fish? What do they cling to? What are those things that ride on the whale? Whatever those things are on a whale, that's what people are to Beto. Oh, they love him.
At times, perhaps oversharing.
So I'm here at the dentist.
Still, his supporters are confident.
I mean, this guy. Come on, you gotta be worried about a guy like that because the media just loves him. Here.
His energy can lift him even higher.
Like he did in Texas, Beto O'Rourke...
He gets on top of counters and has his shirt sleeves rolled up, rides his Ford pickup. He's got all the things he knows people like. And he also knows that most of America, pardon me, most of mainstream Democrat America, the Ilhan Omar doesn't represent even most Democrats. Most Democrats are, especially minority ones, are religious people and have no semblance, no symmetry with the left-wing, crazy, shallow lunacy of the Three Stooges there who just were elected to Congress. They have nothing in common, which is why these three loons will probably be defeated in the primary. It won't be even in Congress by 2020. The Democrat Party wants to shed themselves of these three lunatics like no one can possibly imagine. And so Beto comes forward, and they'll take anything they can get from this guy. They love this guy. He's like the Democrat Opie.
Kept a small footprint on his first day on the presidential campaign trail.
He's the Democrat Gumby.
Even driving his own car. Why'd you choose this?
He was once a little green slab of clay. Beto.
Starting this corner of the state.
This is a very important part of America that isn't listened to often enough.
And this guy was living in, at the same time, he was also at one point living in someone's basement for a while in New York. And, he's a trust fund baby. Well, actually, it's his wife's trust fund, but still, he's.
It's his first ever trip to Iowa.
Good morning. Pronounce your first name.
Beto.
Along with his name, voters are still learning what the former three-term congressman from El Paso
said. Well, thank you very much for that report. I appreciate it very much. That's from CBS Evening News.
Including universal health care, a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, and universal background checks for gun buyers.
Exactly. That's why we like Beto.
Poll of Iowa Democrats put O'Rourke in 5th place behind former Vice President Joe Biden.
Is he faking that voice? That dude?
Yes, if I just talk like this, I'll be unique on CBS Evenings News.
Who's expected to join the race next month, and 3 senators.
So right now it's Biden and Sanders at 25%, Elizabeth Warren at 9%, Kamala Harris at 7%, and Beto at 5%. But with this kind of coverage, you're going to really knock him dead, I'll tell you. All right, coming up. I meant to get to the Roy Blunt thing, but I'll get to that because yesterday's vote was really bad and very disappointing. And there is not a Republican in Missouri, with any sense at least, who supports what Roy Blunt did. So why did he do it? We asked him to come on the air with us today, and he said they'll come on later, another time. Like, well, you made a pretty historic and meaningful vote yesterday, and as a Republican, and you don't want to come on to defend it? So let me know, by the way, if he's on anywhere else, if you guys don't mind. I'll, oh, he is? Oh, he is. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so he's over there, huh? Okay. So he's not coming on the air here. Gotcha. Thank you. That's interesting. Well, we'll talk about that when we come back and take your phone calls as well. CallTammy.com, the real estate listener line at 844-855-1380, 844-855-1380.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Emergency officials picked up after the earlier crash along the westbound side of 270 just after Riverview. That equipment cleared from the scene. The traffic's still a bit slow back to Route 3 through the crash site again, just past Riverview. Northbound 270 seeing a bit of an uptick in traffic volume between Big Bend and Manchester. Southbound delay free. On the westbound side of 64, tie-ups begin right near 25th Street. And we've got a little bit of a thicker delay developing on the eastbound side of 6440. Brake lights coming out in between 170 and Big Bend. This traffic report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
You love that smell. That new truck smell. All cleaned up and ready to go.
Did you get your vent visor?
You know, the rain guard that goes over your window? Stop by Custom Car and Truck in O'Fallon, Illinois for free installation and lifetime warranty on vent visors.
How about your bug shield? You don't want to mess up the hood of your new truck with dead bugs. Keep them off the hood with free installation and lifetime warranty bug shield.
See John and the crew off Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois,
or online at customcarandtruck.com.
Folks, I will tell you, Michael Proctor on Wednesday came in and put the robotic shade in, and boy, I'll tell you what, we are loving playing with this thing. And, you know, for those of you who actually use it for a utilitarian mode, as opposed to me just playing around with the Proctor James Bond shade, you're going to love what Michael Proctor can do for you and your home and your window treatments, because he is the one-man band. He is the one-stop shop. He is the mobile design unit that comes right to your doorstep. He is the guy who has all the materials you want. He has all the conveniences you need. So let's put it this way. A lot of businesses and a lot of regular homeowners love the motorized shades because they're really easy. With the push of a button, you can just simply draw the shades very easily. And actually, sometimes it's a real pain to kind of draw the shades and do all that. If you've got 4 or 5 of them, you know, just simply going on down the line and doing all that kind of thing is time consuming and just kind of a pain. So if it's all motorized, then boy, you're in a good position there. And so the motorized shades from Michael Proctor are awesome, and he just put together a beautiful piece for us here in the studio that you are seeing on the Facebook Live that we'll play around with as time goes on. But anyway, that's just one of the things he does for you. Side panels, and he's got the Norman shutters, and he's got everything you could possibly need. And, of course, he's the Hunter Douglas, premier Hunter Douglas dealer, and the shade we have here is Hunter Douglas, but also he's got plenty of other materials that are non-motorized that are Hunter Douglas shades. And so you're going to love what he does for you. He's got all the latest hardware, and Michael is the guy who competes with the big guys, the luxury people. But there's nothing luxury about the price, but there's everything luxury about the product when it comes to Michael Proctor. So his mobile design unit comes right to your doorstep and is able to help you out and give you the most beautiful side panels, shutters, you name it, you got it, shades that you're going to need. And he's coming right 7 days a week. He'll come to you on a Sunday as well, and he's your interior designer. So thank you, Michael, for your support of Common Sense Radio. Thank you, Michael, for your ongoing support of Allman in the Morning. Proctor Drapery, Proctor spelled like doctor, proctordrapery.com.
Hi, my name is Scott Ferguson, the Director of Outreach from St. Matthew Church in Belleville, inviting you to worship with us each Sunday. We offer 3 different worship experiences: 8 a.m. traditional, 9:17 modern, and 10:45 blended with our St. Matthew Sanctuary Choir and Orchestra. That's St. Matthew in Belleville. For additional information, visit us at stmatthewumc.org.
Glock Days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock Days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
Hey, want to talk with Jamie? Call 844-855-1380. 844-855-1380. And interact with Common Sense Radio. This is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Lots to talk about, including the Democrats who want now 16-year-olds to vote. They're doing anything to stop the bleeding for 2020 ahead of the bleeding for 2020. So we got that going on. And also this vote by Roy Blunt yesterday, who has declined to appear on the show this morning to explain it. We'll talk about what happened yesterday with the emergency declaration and the Republicans who decided to defy the president on this matter, which I do not think is defensible under any circumstance. We'll talk about that. Ben Murphy on from America First Missouri at 8 o'clock as well.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. New Zealand is in shock following terror attacks on two mosques that left at least 49 people dead, dozens of others wounded. The bloodshed has stunned New Zealand, the country where violence like this is unheard of. New Zealand's Prime Minister calls this one of her country's darkest days. President Trump not expected to waste any time vetoing a congressional resolution that blocks his southern border emergency declaration. The president's very first veto could come later today. North Korea says it may resume missile development and testing, may put an end to nuclear talks with the U.S. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures pointing to a higher open. Right now, Dow futures are up about 137 points. S&P futures better by 13, and NASDAQ futures 42 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Roadways might be a little bit wet with some showers that passed through a little bit earlier. Should be seeing some sprinkles on and off through the morning rush. Northbound 270, a tad slow between Big Bend and Manchester. Starting to see traffic volume on the rise on the eastbound side of 6440. A few minor delays, stacking up traffic from 170 into Big Bend. On the westbound side of 64, watch for some brake lights near 25th Street. And the left lane blocked with a crash this morning on the westbound side of 270 just before the Chain of Rocks Bridge, causing a delay back into Route 3. This traffic report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and a little bit cooler today. Winds from the west-northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and cold this evening. Winds from the west-northwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour, low 30. Mostly sunny and chilly for Saturday, high 50. Sunday, partly sunny and cool, high 51. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Do you consider yourself as the expert in your industry? Do others in the community consider you to be the expert in your line of business? There's an affordable way to position your company as the expert. I'm Lori Vernier, Sales Manager for 1380 AM The Answer and Salem Media St. Louis. Let us help you bring your brand to life. You know your business, and we know how to build an effective and engaging radio show with both on-air and online distribution. Grow your business by enhancing your credibility and branding yourself as the market expert in your field, positioning you above your competitors. Let's work together to help make you the expert St. Louisans turn to for information in your industry. Contact me, Lori Vernier, at theanswerstl.com, and we can discuss bringing your brand to life with your own radio program.
If you love radio as much as we do, then why don't you join us by having your own show? Just go to theanswerstl.com and click Contact Us at the bottom of the page.
This station owned and operated by Salem Media Group.
Let's face it, we love Alexa, and we love to let her find your favorite radio station. This one, of course. We love it too when she finds us, but she could find us easier if we taught her a simple skill. To get started, simply say, Alexa, enable The Answer St. Louis skill. After she confirms, you can then say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. That's all you have to do, and Alexa will learn how to find us. You can listen to us through your Amazon Echo, Echo Show, Echo Dot, and Amazon Tap devices. Alexa, what is your favorite radio station?
That's easy. 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
America's First News with Matt Ray gets you up to speed. Mornings from 4 to 6, right before Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
I confess I blew every line. Like English beat there, Phil? Awesome band. Every once in a while they'll come to St. Louis, play at the Duck Room or something like that. I've had to sit down because I have a gigantic divot in my leg. So I've been ordered to keep my feet up, you know. Phil was like, how'd a bird bath roll over your leg? It's like, dude, you would never even, I couldn't even explain if I had to, but I did. So we're off the air, and of course, you know, I'm so busy, I've got things I got to do for the show, but I have to address Phil's congressional hearing about why I had a bird bath roll over my leg, and I explained to him that I took the top off the bird bath to prop it up against my fence that blew down. And then the bird bath wound up rolling with the fence after it blew down. And so the bird bath rolled over my foot. So there's like 100 pounds of bird bath rolling over me. And so that's how that happens. That's how a bird bath rolls over your foot, Phil. The top of it. I took that baby off the top and tried to prop it up against. Again, the lesson here, people, is just make sure that you call the fence guy first, not second. It's like kind of like my advice for you with plumbing. I've done many things with plumbing. I consider myself, I've installed toilets and sinks and all kinds of things, but the bottom line is really what you need to do is call a plumber first. It's always easier anyway. Your time is more valuable. But thank you to Sarah, Stacy, Michelle, Mindy, and Allison over there at the Wound Care Center at Missouri Baptist that I finally had to go into yesterday, 2 weeks after the whole thing, just so I could, if I get to Heaven's Gate because I died of flesh-eating bacteria, God or whoever would answer the door there, St. Peter, would say, did you bother going to the Missouri Baptist Wound Care Center? I'm like, no. Then I'd be in trouble in heaven. You know what I'm saying? So this way, at least if I wind up there for some reason after I get flesh-eating bacteria, I actually can have it. I can actually tell them at least I took steps to avoid flesh-eating bacteria. Then maybe they'll let me in and I can just go about my business and grab a beer and just hang out with people. But if I have to explain that I didn't try to save myself, and that's not going to work out very well. And thank you, Dr. Ludwig, too. He was great. But nothing beats spending an afternoon watching somebody dig into your shin. It's fantastic. I would recommend it to anybody. Just go and get a big, gigantic half-inch of whatever that is dug out of your skin. You'll love it. Your palms will sweat a little bit, I will tell you that. But the nurses keep you busy, talking to you and saying, are you going to be okay? Like, yeah. It's going to be fine. Nancy Pelosi says it's really important to allow kids to vote, by the way. I don't know whether you guys realize that. My iPad's on, right?
Sure. Well, I disagree with the ACLU on this. In terms of legislation, we couldn't be prouder than H.R. 1. This is about reducing the role of big, dark, special interest money in politics and empowering small donors. It's about ending voter suppression. It's about making redistricting fair.
So what they've done is they put this big bill together that talks about donors and regulating donations and big money and voter fraud or voter suppression, whatever. But included in that is an idea to have 16-year-olds vote. So it's just a hidden kind of a Trojan horse is H.R. 1. So we'll follow up on that. All right. Meanwhile, also in Congress, we had this happen yesterday. And this was let me ask you. So yesterday, Maxie calls the Roy Blunt office And, and normally we have to go through those channels. We go through their media people. And I guess I could text Roy, but he doesn't text me back when I text him. So I ever since that whole thing with 971, so I was like, okay, then let's see if we can get him on the air to explain his vote yesterday. Because when you do vote against the president and you're a Republican, especially a ranking Republican, and you are a person who has even ran his inaugural committee and has been a supporter of President Trump, and I'm glad Roy has. I was glad to support him for his support of President Trump. But when you're a leading Republican, wouldn't you support the president's initiative on declaring a state of emergency to deal with the border issue? And so we wanted Roy Blunt to explain that vote, and I wanted to have him on the air. I was a critic of his right out of the blocks, because one of the problems that we had with our Democrats and Republicans is that they weren't doing anything about what was happening at the border. So the president had to go ahead and force them to, and that included ultimately a government shutdown. Well, at that point then, Pelosi and Schumer said, tried to say, hey, well, if you just reopen the government for a little bit, we'll take this time to come up with a good plan for the border. Well, lo and behold, the day after Trump reopened the government, there was Roy Blunt and Marco Rubio Sunday on the, so this is 2 days after, but it was Sunday on the Sunday snoozer shows, declaring that they were not going to support a declaration of an emergency. This was just not even 24 hours after the president reopened the government on the promise that these guys would all work towards a goal, knowing that the end possibility was a declaration of an emergency. So we have two highly public Republicans, though, right out of the blocks, deciding they were going to go ahead and play the declaration of emergency card right away and say they weren't going to support it. It's like, well, that's not helpful for you to already declare that you were not going to fight for border control, to already declare the president's one main weapon you just took away from him in an appearance on Meet the Press. That's not responsible. That's not you helping the Republican Party or helping conservatives or helping the president by deciding you're going to go ahead and blow up his one secret weapon before it even happens. That doesn't make any sense. So the writing was on the wall already, but I actually didn't think after all that Roy Blunt would actually follow through on defying the president once the emergency was declared. I know his opinion was, I don't support a declaration of emergency, but that doesn't mean he has to vote against it when ultimately it comes down to it, because that's what the president's forced to do because Congress isn't doing anything. So he and Rubio wound up voting against it. We knew that people like Mike Lee and others were going to vote against it. And we knew the usual suspects like Susan Collins and all these rhinos were going to vote for it. But we would never expect someone like Roy Blunt to vote against it. I wouldn't in a million years expect him to defy the president. And the worst part about this is their reasoning is horrible and easily disprovable and easily blown out of the water. So apparently, Roy Blunt's excuse is that, well, we don't want other presidents to declare a state of emergency for gun control or for the climate change, which is an unintelligent, unresearched, indefensible excuse for voting against this declaration of emergency. And I'll tell you why. And it doesn't take a genius to come up with why. When you consider that There are three issues here: gun control, climate change, and the border. Which one of those issues is directly installed in the Constitution as being relevant to the enumerated powers of the President of the United States and the federal government? You're right, border control. Which is why ultimately a court, if this goes to court, and maybe it will, a court will absolutely rule in defense of the president. They'll rule that the president has an inherent right, responsibility, the right actually reinforced by Congress, to control our border. It's very simple. It doesn't take a constitutional scholar to see that comparing this to a declaration of emergency for global warming is apples and oranges. You couldn't do it. It would never, you wouldn't be able to defend it. So the question is, what is defensible under the Constitution? And that ought to be what guides you. Not this weird, dumb conjecturing about the idea that somebody might declare a state of emergency on gun control and take away our Second Amendment rights. That would never happen in a million years, which is why Democrats haven't done it, ever. And in fact, the reality is, even if President Trump did nothing, you'd still have the possibility Democrats would declare a state of emergency for gun control and for climate change. They could still try to do that, but they won't. You know why? Because even they are smarter than Marco Rubio and Roy Blunt, because they have researched the Constitution and they know what the enumerated powers are all about. And border control is absolutely a defensible thing to pursue when you're President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief. It's right there in black and white. Defense of your borders and your sovereignty of the United States. You'd never be able to make that case in any way, shape, or form over on gun control or climate change. You couldn't do it. I mean, it doesn't take much to understand that you can't do that. So Roy Blunt has no excuse for voting against the president here, unless he's obviously not running again in, let's see, it's 2020 and 2018. So, 2016. So 2022. He obviously he's not running again. That's probably one of the reasons why he calculated this. And probably in the background, they're thinking, well, you know, the president's going to veto this anyway, and then I won't vote to override the veto. And that's what will happen here, is the president will veto it, then they'll take a vote to override the veto, and these guys won't vote to override the veto. But that's their calculation. But nonetheless, the message it sends in terms of support of our president and support of the defense of our borders is a terrible one. I don't care what your calculations are. And that's what these guys do. They figure this is a gimme. And there's a strong possibility that Roy Blunt even talked to the president himself and probably said, hey, dude, listen, I'm going to vote against this, but I know you're going to veto it. I won't vote to override, but give me this. And I don't know who Roy Blunt is trying to please, but he's not pleasing anybody here. And he's not pleasing Republicans. And he won't come on the air, at least my air, to defend it, which is interesting too. And it's interesting on that level because believe me, everybody Roy Blunt is talking to today, I guarantee you, were not the people that Roy Blunt called in a panic when he was afraid of losing to Jason Kander in the 2016 election. I guarantee you Roy Blunt didn't call Mark Cox or Mark Reardon or any of these other people who are interviewing him today. I guarantee you he didn't call them on the phone and ask them to meet them in the restaurant at the Frontenac Hilton with his wife to talk him off the ledge because he was afraid of losing to Jason Kander. You know who he called? Me. That's who Roy Blunt called. He called me. Twice I met him and helped him. Hell, I ran all the way down to Springfield for this guy because Ted Cruz was down there for him. I happen to like Ted Cruz. I don't like him as much as I like Donald Trump, but I happen to like Ted Cruz. Went all the way down to Springfield. I worked my ass off for Roy Blunt's reelection. It was not going to be an easy race for him. He knew it. And now he won't come on my air to explain his vote against President Trump. But he's on everybody else's air. He'll talk to everybody else. I saw him on CNN yesterday with the Michigan Senator, Stabenow. He'll talk to Allison. He'll explain his vote to Allison Camerata before he'll explain his vote to the Common Sense Nation and Allman in the Morning's listeners. And I guarantee you, whoever Roy Blunt thinks he's talking to at these other outlets, there are very few people listening. But it must not matter to him. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. He got what he got from me, and that's it. Because I'll tell you one thing: when after I was canned by 97.1, I didn't get the time of day from the guy. I was invisible to him. So I don't understand what his reasoning is or why. And Maxie reached out to the office, which is normally what we need to do, and they're told that we didn't have time today. I wonder if I should have I wonder when Roy Blunt asked me to meet him and Abby at the Frontenac Hilton because he was panicking over possibly losing his race to Jason Kander, maybe I should have said, no, I can't fit that into my schedule. In hindsight, I maybe should have. But, I'm not that type of person. I wanted to help him. I wanted to help Roy Blunt get reelected. Because we needed that voice, and I like him. But boy, I'll tell you, man, you're in a situation like this, and he doesn't. And it's not a matter of talking to me. It's a matter of talking to you and explaining his vote to you. Because I'm you, so I just happen to have a microphone and a vehicle that he can address your concerns, but he's talking to you. He should be talking to you. He should be answering you. Because I'm seeing you out on Twitter and on Facebook. I'm seeing you everywhere. I'm getting your texts. You're not happy. But Roy Blunt doesn't think that matters enough to explain it to you. Or he knows his explanation is terrible. And I'd jump right down his throat because I know, and I'd be respectful, obviously, but there's again, keep this in mind, people. There is zero symmetry between a border issue and climate change issue. It's the worst possible excuse. Marco Rubio, who I expected a shallow kind of response from, because Marco Rubio is the shallowest among the shallowest. I knew that, Marco Rubio, remember he was like, when Make America Great Again, Marco Rubio's best response was, America's already great. It's like, oh, Lord, take another drink of water. But no, I expected that from Rubio, that ilk, but I would never expect that from Roy Blunt, who actually understands the Constitution and knows that this does not pave the way for declarations of emergencies on issues that are not pertinent to the Constitution. And they also know they had to know this is going to wind up in the courts, maybe. And the reality is the courts are going to reaffirm the president's power here. It's really simple. I mean, that is if the court reads the Constitution, which is exactly what they're supposed to do, to my knowledge. So anyway, that's a sad state of affairs, but Roy must not be running again in 2022 because he's not going to be able to rely on you all. Oh, just one vote? No, it's not just one vote. This is being reported as a Republican rebuke of the president. And that's the last thing President Trump needs is a Republican rebuke. We don't like that. Your phone calls are welcome. I'm sorry I'm so crabby about that, but I kind of am. Call Tammy.com. Real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. Would love to hear from you. It's Common Sense Radio.
Live from the Arrowhead Building Supply Studio, this is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Got a number of afternoon roadwork projects set up east and westbound 44 from Grand into 70. Also going to see some roadwork westbound 64 on the Poplar. We've got some road construction, and the 70 express lane is going to be shut down tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. because of some road work as well. Crews picked up the earlier crash westbound 270 before the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Watch for delay back into Route 203. Meanwhile, eastbound 270 starts to get busier between Lindbergh and 170. Northbound 55 on the brakes at Park, and watch for brake lights on the eastbound side of 6440, slow in travel near McKnight. This traffic report is sponsored by Think It Up. Think It Up is a new initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Good morning this morning, and how about a really great night's sleep? You know, pillows matter, and so do sheets. So I'm very excited today to go and pick up my My Pillow Dream Sheets, because those are going to be something new to me. The My Pillow is not something new to me. In fact, when My Pillow approached us and said, "Hey, I want to talk about My Pillow," I go, "Yeah, I'd love to, because I already sleep on it. I'm already a customer." So this is going to be really an easy pitch here. So what I'm telling you is that the My Pillow is everything that Mike Lindell says it is when he's on TV talking about it. And that's why I bought it, because I believed him, and I did. And actually, everything he says is absolutely true about the My Pillow. It's comfortable. It fits to your head and your neck, and it's amazing. I don't exactly know what the technology is, but who cares? As long as it's everything that Mike Lindell and My Pillow says it is, and it absolutely is. You're going to love the My Pillow. The sheets, the Dream Sheets, they're called Dream Sheets because they are dreamy. They're comfortable. They'll sleep you coolly, and they are absolutely beautiful in terms of their smoothness. They're like, you wonder, you go to a hotel and you're going, why are these beds so awesome? Well, it's because they use the Dream Sheets or something like it. But he's managed to reproduce that nice, luxurious hotel feel with the My Pillow Dream Sheets. So here's the deal. You're going to get 30% off the Dream Sheets when you use the promo code Jamie, and I'll tell you how to use that. And also, you're going to get a great offer in terms of the My Pillow. So you're going to get a 4-pack of the My Pillows. That includes 2 premium My Pillows along with 2 Go Anywhere pillows. So these are things you can take with you and make you comfortable and everything else. And then you're going to go ahead and get the free shipping that goes along with it. So here's how you do it. 800-964-3187. 800-964-3187. And use the promo code Jamie, and you're in for this great deal from My Pillow. You can go to mypillow.com as well.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms. Hey, it's Allman from Allman in the Morning. I want to tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call my friend Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also the top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman plantation shutters. Those are beautiful. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. So cut down on the risk of error. Schedule your appointment today with Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, proctordrapery.com.
Hey, don't just listen to Allman in the Morning. See the show at theanswerstl.com. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
All right, people, coming up. Your phone calls are welcome. You can hang on the line here. I was up against kind of a break here because I went a little long, so if you don't mind hanging on the line there, Jim and Steve and the rest of the gang, call Tammy.com. Real estate listener line is 844-855-1380, 844-855-1380. Your phone calls are welcome. We'll talk about Roy Blunt, talk about what's happening in New Zealand. Ben Murphy and Sonny Wilson straight ahead.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump says the U.S. stands with New Zealand and is ready to help in any way it can. In the wake of the massacre at two mosques in Christchurch, at least 49 people dead, dozens of others wounded in the shootings.
What has happened here is an extraordinary and unprecedented act of violence.
Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says there is no place for the hatred and anti-immigrant sentiment described in a manifesto, purportedly from a self-described terrorist who was targeting Muslims.
Many of those who will have been directly affected by this shooting may be migrants to New Zealand.
Some of them were dead and some of them were screaming.
Witnesses are describing the horror at Masjid Al-Noor Mosque in Christchurch.
On the floor, the bullet shells, so many hundreds.
The mosques were attacked during Friday prayers and filled with worshippers. I'm Jackie Quinn.
President Trump vows to veto a congressional resolution revoking his declaration of a national emergency on the southern border.
After 12 Republican senators joined Democrats to oppose the emergency declaration, President Trump tweeted one word: veto, in all caps. Earlier, he predicted the outcome of the vote, but said Congress doesn't have enough votes to override his veto.
No, I'll probably have to veto, and it's not going to be overturned.
The veto will be the president's first since taking office more than 2 years ago. Greg Clugston, the White House.
President Trump's attempt to convince North Korea to give up its nukes may have hit a dead end. North Korea's vice foreign minister saying that Kim Jong-un will be deciding soon on whether to resume missile development and testing and whether to end talks with the U.S. On Wall Street this hour, Dow futures up 95 points, S&P futures 9.5 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Emergency crews have blocked off the off-ramp from the eastbound side of 70 onto 370. This is all because of police activity in the area, but no word on when that will reopen. Eastbound 270 slowing up between Lindbergh and 170. Watch for delays on the westbound side of 270 right near the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Eastbound 6440 on the Breaks McKnight into Big Bend. We've got some slow spots as well on the westbound side. Tie-ups begin right near Hampton into Laclede Station. This traffic report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic this morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and a little bit cooler today. Winds from the west-northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and cold this evening. Winds from the west-northwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour, low 30. Mostly sunny and chilly for Saturday, high 50. Sunday, partly sunny and cool, high 51. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin vows to protect the president's privacy on taxes, and General Mills looking to pet foods. Those stories are next.
I remember feeling so desperate and so trapped. I was surrounded by family and friends that loved me. Any one of them would have listened to me, but I was so afraid of opening up to them, too embarrassed to talk about what was causing me so much pain. It felt like torture to be so close to people that would have loved to help me and yet too embarrassed to ask for help. And then a few weeks ago, I heard about Faithful Counseling here on the radio. Christian counselors, fellow believers, trusted therapists who not only share my faith, but could actually help me. They want to give you a free week so you can try them out. You can begin a conversation by text or phone, even video conferencing, in the privacy of your own home. Why not give it a try? If it's not for you, cancel during your first week and you won't pay a dime. Go to tryfaithfulcounseling.com. It's time to talk to someone who can help. Go now to tryfaithfulcounseling.com. It's so easy to get started, and your first week is free. Go to tryfaithfulcounseling.com.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin telling Congress he'll protect President Trump's privacy if he receives a request from House Democrats to release presidential tax returns. Economic reports due out include the Labor Department's updates on job openings, as well as the Fed's industrial production report for the month of February. And cereal maker General Mills' business has stabilized, but higher margins for its Blue Buffalo pet food unit are positioning sales to be higher than expected. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Dana Lash.
This is where some people try to hit capitalism, and they try to say capitalism removes this social welfare net. That's not capitalism that is responsible for it. It's selfishness. That's the problem. I think that when you are blessed, through that you bless other people, because that's what I think you're supposed to do. The reason that we are in the position that we are is because people don't do that. This is not something that you can mandate through the government.
The Dana Show. Weekdays at 1 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Across America, it's snoring season. Right now, 90 million Americans make this sound every night. Snoring can be caused by breathing through your mouth when you sleep. If you have a blocked or narrow nose, then you're more likely to open your mouth to breathe, causing snoring. Thankfully, there's Mute, an ingenious Australian invention that could quiet the snoring season once and for all. Mute is a comfortable nasal breathing device that sits inside the nose, supporting your airway and keeping it open while you sleep. You'll breathe more easily through your nose and snore less. In fact, in trials, 75% of couples reported a reduction in snoring when using Mute, allowing them both a better night's sleep. Put snoring season to bed, America.
Available at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid and other fine stores. For more information, go to mutesnoring.com. Mute. Breathe more, snore less, sleep better.
Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to all of you. And I guess because I've been so busy with all the other stuff, I've opened with this morning with what's going on over there in New Zealand. And I'll tell you a couple things that already the news organizations out there are already trying to figure out how they're going to kind of squeeze this into a Trump attack somehow. And CNN actually was the first out of the blocks. They won. Don Lemon won the award for having the panel of people, I don't know who they are as always, on the show, and one guy made us something or other, decided he was going to kind of turn this into a Trump thing. I don't know how they're able to actually do that with any kind of dignity, but they do. And so this is going to be, and Ocasio-Cortez is on to her Don Lemon mocking of thoughts and prayers type of stuff. So, it's off to the races today. But the first guy out of the blocks is this dude. Here you go.
You heard what the Prime Minister, I'm going to bring you in, Mehdi, because...
Don Lemon has his tragedy glasses on, by the way. You know the anchors, when there's a big tragedy or whatever, they put on their tragedy glasses to make them look like they're thoughtful and serious. So when Don Lemon is not inebriated and calling President Trump a racist, he wears his tragedy glasses to make him look somber and sober.
This kind of thing, as you said before, is personal to you, and it speaks to the violence that is going on in our culture.
You'll see a lot of anchors with their tragedy glasses on today, just so you know, and they'll put them on when they read stuff. And let me see if I have my glasses. Do I have my tragedy glasses? Yeah, I do. Here. Yes, this is a terrible event that happened, and if you can just simply be on my panel and find a way to make this all about Donald Trump, I'd appreciate that while I sit here with my long face on and my tragedy glasses. Here, let me read from a statement from the... Yeah, that's what they do. Anyway, let's let this guy rip before I get to my friends here.
And I think to kind of talk about the story we were talking about before in terms of Trump's rhetoric as well, Western governments for far too long have turned a blind eye to domestic terrorism, to domestic far-right terrorism. We now know from the stats, for example, here in the US, that there are more attacks, more casualties from domestic terrorist groups, far-right groups, than there are from quote-unquote jihadist or Islamist groups. You have Muslim victims of terrorism tonight in New Zealand. I mentioned the attack in Canada, Quebec City, shortly after Trump was inaugurated. There have been attempted attacks and attacks in Minnesota, in various places across the US. We do need to start taking this seriously. Hate crimes against minorities, against Jewish groups, against Muslim communities, against people of color are on the rise in Britain, across Western Europe, United States, Canada, Australia, and now, sadly, New Zealand. And that requires politicians to take the problem seriously and also to deal with their language. You asked Matthew earlier about, is there someone out there tonight who's going to hear Trump's rhetoric and act on it? I mean,
there you go. I do, and you're going to hear this all day long. And I won't be surprised if Ilhan Omar somehow shoehorns herself into this story as like a pretend victim of the shooting there. We'll see how it goes today, but that's your news media for you. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to something actually that hits you right at home here, and that is not only the vote with Roy Blunt, but also the continuing effort to highlight the work of the grassroots here. And nobody better to do that than Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Shameful, Jamie.
Wow. No, I didn't. No, normally what I do is
Who's Tweedle? Who's Dee?
No, when I do it for the news people, I say Tweedledee and Tweedledummer. But Tweedledee and Tweedledum were actually good characters. You know that, don't you?
They were good guys.
Yeah,
no idea.
Yes, they were. Tweedledee and Tweedledum were actually twins, and they were actually positive figures.
Sonny, do you mind if I could be Tweedledee?
I'll be Tweedledum.
Hey,
I'll play dumb.
Well, it's
a great excuse.
But see,
I don't know.
But see, Tweedledum is not Tweedledum as in D-U-M-B. It's D-U-M. And it's not dumb.
Oh, as in he can't hear.
Yeah, right. No. It's just he's not. Tweedledum is just is Tweedledee's twin. And you guys are kind of like twins. Yeah.
We do?
Of course.
So he's like, no, I don't. Anyway, Sonny Wilson.
It's the hair.
And Ben Murphy here. And these guys are true friends and great soldiers in the grassroots movement, and always reliable and always working on behalf of you all who are listening to Allman in the Morning and Common Sense Nation. So, guys, right out of the blocks, first of all, I know before you were going to come on anyway, Friday, and so the vote took place yesterday. So this all happened yesterday. We were going to talk about something else, so we'll make sure we do. But your initial reaction, guys, to what happened in D.C. yesterday. Josh Hawley obviously voted yes, supported the president.
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah,
Hawley.
Absolutely. But Roy Blunt, inexplicably, and his defense is a bad one. I understand he's on the other shows. He won't come on this show for some reason. but I know he's on the other shows where he is talking about how, well, the president's going to get his way anyway, so I just did this. That's, first of all, indefensible. Secondly, it's indefensible, this idea somehow that president, that this is going to lay the groundwork and open the floodgates for Democrats to declare a national emergency for other issues. And I'm telling you, the border issue is installed in the Constitution. The other two are not. So it's apples and oranges.
Jamie, this our southern border has been under attack for years. So now for President Trump to defend us properly as the president and call this an emergency, it's been an emergency. So for Senator Blunt to come out and vote against the president, as emotional as that is for me, I'm not going to respond in anger. We're going to reach out to the senator as an organization, America First Mo, targeting and representing the independent grassroots voter. We're going to reach out to him and give him the opportunity to tell us why we should support his vote. And I'm looking forward to that. So I'm keeping my powder dry for right now. I love it that we've got 2 Republican senators representing us here in Missouri. But I'm going to hold judgment until we've had a chance to formulate an official response as an organization.
Right.
Personally, I'm disappointed. I don't think that's going too far. We'll see.
Well, he'll tell you exactly what I just said, which is that he thinks that it's a bad precedent, which, again, Rubio took the same tact. It's absolutely not. I mean, there's no difference. This is the only one that will be upheld by a court. It wouldn't be upheld if they did it for gun control or whatever. So
or climate change.
Or climate change. It just wouldn't happen. They wouldn't defend it because the Constitution clearly states that the president has a task. The president is tasked with defending our borders and defending our sovereignty. He's sworn to do that.
That's right.
And in fact, Roy Blunt was the head of his inaugural committee and watched him swear to that on a Bible.
This is why I'm shocked. I really am.
A lot of us are.
I really thought he was part of the team, and him actually breaking away, and I don't even know even how to respond to this. He's got to have. There must have been some deal struck.
Yeah.
Because
there you go.
He's not going to use his political capital, and he knows a backlash is coming.
Yeah.
So someone agreed. So they made a deal, and the question is, what is that deal?
Well, I was thinking that maybe, I'm sure that when it came time to talk to the president about this, because he had a conversation with the president about this, and I'm sure that he said to the president, hey, man, listen, I'm going to do this, but it's going to be easy. I'm not going to vote to override it because that's I guarantee you these guys are not going to vote to override the veto. Right. So, at that point, I'm sure that it was kind of like, let me do this. But the reasoning behind it, though, is different. If he did say that to the president, then what? Who was he trying to please? Because it couldn't possibly be Missouri Republicans.
No, Josh, which I'm very pleased with his performance so far. He's
Absolutely.
really, I was not a big supporter of Josh, but I tell you what, he's proven me wrong, and Blunt has just shocked me. So I really want to see in the next few weeks what actually comes out of this.
Right.
Because then we'll see the deal, what it was.
Absolutely. Jamie, you mentioned he must not be running. I was in a meeting this week with a highly placed source who, I certainly believe him, is telling me that Senator Blunt is running, will be running.
In 2022?
For re-election. And that's already...
the info I have not heard that he's not.
Right.
So as far as I know, he is.
Yeah. Well, this will come back to haunt him, I think. I mean, listen, if you listen to any of the people on Twitter or in Facebook or whatever, and maybe that's a small group of people, I don't know, but I'm telling you, there's not anybody who supports this decision he made.
Well, right now as it stands, there will be a primary because there's a lot of people that are just foaming at the mouth. They're excited because they're like, well, he's made this move politically.
Right.
So there's people already gathering and talking and in the chatter who's going to run against him.
Do you know anybody who you could actually talk about name wise or?
Not right now.
Okay, I always thought I'd ask.
I do have a few that I know have been talking about it.
If you were guessing, Sonny, it's just a wild guess.
A wild guess.
Come on, wild guess. Who might have wanted to run last time that didn't? Who might want to take a shot at it this round. But for that to happen, I don't know that Senator Blunt would be running.
Well, you got to think about this.
I would talk a little cryptic there, but throw it out there.
Who ran the last Senate race might try to run this one.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. There you go.
There's a few. There's a few building some
We're
political
talking about
capital.
Peter Pfeiffer?
No.
Our buddy Peter?
No.
Okay.
How about Eric Greitens?
Yeah,
I tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like that one.
Yeah.
I'd support him.
That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be fun?
The grassroots would support him.
There are people who also want him to. They want him to run for governor again in 2020.
After what was done to him, there's a lot of us that want to see him come back swinging.
Absolutely, just on principle. You know,
absolutely.
I had a conversation with him. I think it was about a month ago, and I told him too. I said, "There's a lot of people who want you to run."
Yeah.
And I said, I tell you what, you have 100% of my support.
Right.
I'll do whatever I can to help you.
Yeah.
I said, I'll work for free.
I'll just say it right now. I'm in.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, and I'm not dropping. We were working on a different subject, and went out to his place, and he cooked some steaks up, and we sat there and talked. And he is at this point. He said, you know, and I'm not saying anything I shouldn't, but I'm saying it. He says he's really, this thing really bit him up.
Yes.
This thing really hurt him. What happened there, and the betrayal was unbelievable here. I mean, it was at the highest levels, the level of betrayal against him. And I understand that, and he would even say that he did a bad thing. He kind of set himself up there. I get that. I understand that. But the fact of the matter is, it was the Republican Party didn't do this because they thought he did a bad thing. They did it because they didn't want him around because he was getting in their way. When it came to these tax credits, everything else, it was all completely political.
The tax credits was the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was all that. Well, I want to take a break here, and then when we come back, we're going to stick around with Sonny Wilson and Ben Murphy and talk more about Missouri politics and the grassroots and what's in the offing for them. And also, your phone calls are welcome. If you have any questions for these guys, you call Tammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380, 844-855-1380. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Emergency crews have blocked off the ramp from eastbound 70 onto 370 because of police activity in the area. Watch for delays to begin at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Also have a new crash westbound 70 right near Jennings Station that's causing a delay back into Riverview at this point of the morning. Northbound 270 getting on the brakes, Big Bend into Manchester. Delays on the eastbound side of 270. Slow down travel between Lindbergh and 170. On the westbound side, it's a bit slow heading into the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Westbound 6440 now backs up in between Clayton and Laclede Station. This traffic report is sponsored by Compassion International. It's easier to change the world than you think. Sponsor a child in extreme poverty with Compassion International, and you will change the world for that child. Just text the word child to 83393 to sponsor right now. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Hey, quiet boys, I'm talking about a guy who actually is a fan of yours. His name is Rick Pogue. He is the owner, the proprietor, the guy. He and his dad, Jerry, run Arrowhead Building Supply. And these guys have been hugely loyal supporters of Allman in the Morning and hugely loyal supporters of Common Sense Radio. And even after the debacle over at the other place, they stuck with me through thick and thin. Legally, they couldn't. So you know what they did? They said, well, you know what? We'll just use our other company that we expanded thanks to Donald Trump's great economy, and we'll use that company to support you. Either way, they were bending over backwards to make sure that your voice stayed on the air, even if it was just on Facebook and the stream. So now that we're back on and all the other stuff is taken care of and I was able to prevail over the issue in court and everything else, Arrowhead Building Supply, I can talk to them again, and they are back as supporters of the Allman in the Morning show. So I would encourage you under any circumstances, if you need any kind of brand new siding, roofing, whatever, guttering, anything you need, I would encourage you to hit them up at the 2 locations in St. Peter's as well as Fairview Heights. And Rick Pogue, and you've heard his voice here, and you've heard him on the air, you've seen him. This guy's very energetic, and he drives his dad nuts because he's got all these great new ideas. And most of the time, Rick is absolutely just on board. The only problem is letting Dad open up the purse strings to get him to do it. So we've got the cube, which is really cool. So all you have to do is put a picture of your home into the cube, and you can see what all the cedar shake siding looks like, the vintage Tamco roofing, the guttering, whatever it happens to be. You can see what it's really going to look like in your home. It's brand new technology brought to you only by Arrowhead Building Supply. If you have a contractor, bring them with you. If you don't, they have a contractor referral service for you. They have all the good guys who know everything there is to know about every single home improvement product and will install it perfectly for you. ArrowheadBuildingSupply.com.
Glock Days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock Days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
I'm going to have to tell you again, boys, quiet down. I'm talking about another guy who's also a fan of yours. His name is Matthew Mitchell, and that's the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency. Matthew is your hometown guy. I'm talking about kind of the back of the day where he's making the insurance agency great again. Back to the old Norman Rockwell days where your insurance agent was a family friend. That's the kind of relationship I have with Matthew Mitchell. He's a great guy, and if I need him, all I have to do is call him on his cell, and if you need him, all you'll have to do is call him or one of his people on his cell, and he's right there for you under any circumstances. He has low premiums and low deductibles all at the same time for you, and he is hands-on. So you call him up, he'll look at an insurance policy you might have right now, and he will switch it up. You will tear your insurance policy up, I guarantee you, home or auto, once you meet with him. Keep in mind, too, that if you do have an insurance policy with somebody else, don't think that it's some kind of contract. You can leave anytime. If you have a contract with somebody, that's not right anyway, but you can leave anytime you want, and I guarantee you will once Matthew gives you a review of your current policy and tells you all he's going to do for you to improve the policy you have. 855-QUOTE-ME is the number. And also, by the way, if you have a young driver, he is able to get your young driver in without having to break your back when it comes to the cost. You know, young drivers are expensive to insure, but not with Matthew Mitchell, so he's got a special young driver program for you. Also life insurance as well. 855-QUOTE-ME. It's the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency.
Dennis Prager, this morning at 11. Now, more Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We are back because my iPad didn't hit the music properly. It didn't, man. I couldn't get it. It was blank. This iPad was blank. It was just a blank thing. This is why technology ultimately, and Trump was right about technology, it'll eat us alive. You know what? You're just lucky I'm not flying a plane and you're on it. That's all I'm telling you right now, because this thing just blanked out on me. That whole Boeing thing, and you guys being Missourians and knowing what the ramifications are with this, that thing is way overblown. And Boeing is taking a bath over this whole thing.
Well, not only Boeing, Jamie, but my wife and I run a tour business. And you want to talk about a calamity with grounding all these planes and midnight. They're working till midnight every night to try to get this thing straightened out.
Really?
Just in coordinating the flights that aren't happening because these planes are grounded. It's a disaster out there.
I flew in yesterday morning, about 1 in the morning, and I was praying that I was able to actually catch a flight because potentially I may have been stuck in D.C. or actually Massachusetts.
Well, the ramifications here are huge, and also keep an eye out for the fact that Ethiopia. These are guys who can't even have the technology to review their own black boxes, so they send them to France. You know the organization that is looking at these black boxes. It's an organization tied to Airbus.
Well,
and this is going to be huge, and this was all for nothing. I think President Trump made a mistake in grounding these airplanes, and I think this was way overblown. And I know the president had a great deal of pressure on him, and I get it, but hopefully this is not as destructive as it looks to this great company, Boeing.
Now's the time to buy the stock.
Yeah,
Because it will go back. It'll go up.
Yeah.
It's a profitable company. Unfortunately, what is happening, like you said, it's overblown.
Yeah. Totally, especially as it relates to what's going on here. And I'm surprised there aren't more of our esteemed local politicians who have come out and been a little more forceful in defense of them. But that's the way of the world now. You just throw everybody under the Airbus.
Jamie, in defense of the traveling public, I mentioned to my wife this morning when she was dealing with it, at 6 a.m., if I was standing at a gate and it was one of these Boeing airliners, that two of them falling out of the sky, I don't know that I would, I might look for another flight. I got to tell you.
Two of them falling out of the sky in a couple of third world hellholes. There's nobody falling out of the sky in the U.S. You just said how many planes you guys used that are these, and they're flying all over the place. They're up in the air well, they're not in the air right now, but they're up in the air all the time with no accidents.
I think Southwest, I think that's their primary plane.
I've flown in plenty of those things. I like them. Anyway, we'll be back with Ben Murphy and Sonny Wilson. Stick around for a second. I want to get you guys on this next break, and then follow up on some grassroots local issues. Follow up on the merger talk as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need an update on that.
Sheriff Joe.
It's Common Sense Radio. And Sheriff Joe coming in town next weekend. We'll talk about that too.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump says the U.S. stands with New Zealand and is ready to help in any way it can in the wake of the massacre at two mosques in Christchurch. At least 49 people were killed, dozens of others wounded in the shootings. President Trump is vowing to veto a congressional resolution revoking his declaration of an emergency at the southern border. The president's veto, the first of his term in the White House, could come later today. President Trump's attempts to convince North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons may have hit a dead end. The North Korean vice foreign minister says that Kim Jong-un will be deciding soon whether to resume missile development and missile testing, and whether to end talks with the U.S. Wall Street stocks have opened higher. The Dow up 48 points just moments after the opening bell. The S&P 4 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Looks like we're already starting to see some thinning out of delays. Things are looking better on the eastbound side of 270 between Lindbergh and 170. The earlier problems on the westbound side of 6440 have been taken care of between Hampton and Laclede Station. Looking a whole lot better southbound 5570 right near Exchange into 64. The eastbound 6440 on the brakes McKnight into Big Bend. Still have the off-ramp locked from the eastbound side of 70 onto 370 with police activity. That's created a bit of a thicker double-digit delay back to Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. This traffic report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, their grief is unique, but you're not alone. MAD is here to help. Call their 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and a little bit cooler today. Winds from the west-northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and cold this evening. Winds from the west-northwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour, low 30. Mostly sunny and chilly for Saturday, high 50. Sunday, partly sunny and cool, high 51. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dennis Prager points out the truth.
We are told that the left is pro-science and the right is anti-science, because we don't believe that we should bankrupt Western civilization because the world will come to an end in 12 years? We are going about it the wrong way, that everything we'll do bankrupting the West will change the temperature perhaps a half a degree. Perhaps.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekday mornings at 11 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news, stimulating talk.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Listen to Allman in the Morning with Alexa. Wake up and say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Oh, yeah. Come on in, man. That's it. Yeah,
She called, talking about red Lebanese, a dirty room, and a silver Coke spoon.
Happy Friday, everybody. Good morning this morning. Let me get to Jim on line one before I get to Doug Giles. Jim, thanks for calling the show, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, yeah, when I saw Senator Blunt's name on the list, my heart sank.
Yeah.
And, but then I started realizing that all the years I have been listening to you, Jamie, and then you would have Roy Blunt on every once in a while doing an interview, and I would just get the creeps. And I would I would start to feel, this guy he's been there too long. That's all I could feel, because look, I know he was doing stuff for the conservative cause and the Republicans under the radar, but his name was never really mentioned. And the other thing is, he was never attacked by the Post-Dispatch or by the New York Times, and that's where you can really test your mettle. Is if you see these guys getting attacked by the right people, then they're on our side.
Yeah.
They've got the right.
No, I know.
Okay, I'll let you go, and I'll let you.
Okay, brother.
It, okay?
Thanks, Jimmy. His vote is indefensible. The vote against this declaration of emergency is indefensible. I've heard his defense. It's flawed. It doesn't make any sense, and it's wrong. And Senator Blunt is not making any friends here. I don't know what friends he's trying to make up there, but it certainly was a huge mistake and wrong and indefensible. We asked him to come on the show. He would not come on the show. He's on other shows, but we asked him to come on this show, and he wouldn't come on the show because they couldn't fit it into the schedule. I wish I would have said that when he begged me to meet him, when he was terrified he was going to lose against Jason Kander, when he begged me to meet him and talk him off the ledge at the Frontenac Hilton that one night, right? Twice he did that to me, and I helped him out, helped him get reelected and everything else, and he won't give me the time of day. So I don't understand that either, and that's a bad vibe as well. But, the other weird thing about him is he'd come on the air with me, and he would refuse to wear headphones because it would mess up his hair. That always really weirded me out. I'm just telling you. And I was honest with him. I told him that. I said, dude, it's okay. It's not going to mess up your hair that much putting on headphones on the radio. Just telling you. Doug Giles, the warrior and the wild man, coming up at, about 9:30. I'm going to play a really cool segment that he put together because we're working on a project with Doug to infuse many of his warrior and wild man podcast elements and quick hits into the show. And boy, you haven't seen nothing yet before you've seen or listened to the warrior and the wild man podcast. Meanwhile, clashdaily.com is the website. DougGiles.art is the other one because he has a brand new, and if you go to Facebook or you go to the YouTube account, you can see the picture, his most recent gem, which is Ocasio-Cortez sitting on the lap of George Soros. It's awesome, man. How you doing, Doug?
Dude, you just blew me away that Roy Blunt wouldn't put on his headphones because it'd mess up his hair. What kind of frickin' dandy is he, man? I've never met the cat, but you said it all with that "don't mess up my hair," type stuff. When I used to do Christian conferences all around the world, I went and did one in Amsterdam, and I met this guy. Never met him before in my life. He's a preacher. His hair, Jamie, looks like it had eternal life. He would spend like 45 minutes blow drying his hair, and then he'd get out this big ass can of Aquanet and then just completely fix it. And he carried a mirror in his back pocket, and he carried a brush in his sock. Bro, everywhere we went, he was standing in the direction that the wind was blowing, so it wouldn't, jostle his coif.
Unbelievable,
and
man.
I'm telling you what, man, there is something wrong with you if that's what you do. So no wonder he's going to vote against Trump and the wall and the emergency order.
Yeah, it defies belief, especially since he headed up President Trump's inaugural committee. I mean, I don't know whether this was just supposedly a gimme or, and apparently his excuses.
I would say aside from like Rand Paul,
yeah,
I would say the majority of them, somebody's got pictures of them in bed with like a dead woman or a live man. That's how it goes.
Well, I don't know about that, but I will tell you, though, it's funny you mentioned Rand Paul because, like, Rand Paul, this doesn't surprise me coming from Rand Paul. He's always kind of been this way. And actually, I like that about Rand Paul, to tell you the truth. I like that libertarian flair of his. But I still don't think I believe absolutely Rand Paul is also wrong about this regarding the constitutional responsibilities of the President of the United States. This will go to court, and the Supreme Court or whoever it is will absolutely uphold his right to do this. And he would and it wouldn't uphold the right, for instance, to declare a state of emergency on gun control or whatever, because that's not enumerated. It's not part of the Constitution. So I don't know what these guys are thinking. What are they thinking with this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, tell me, you were down in Texas. You watched this Beto O'Rourke race with Ted Cruz. Now suddenly, just to add water, and I think there's a little Marilyn Munster thing going on here because people are so fatigued by all the crazy nuts that they're seeing in the Democrat Party. Suddenly, Beto O'Rourke shows up, and they're all clinging to him for dear life because he's actually, even though I think he's abnormal in his policies, because he comes across as actually some semblance of normalcy. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is behind all this Beto O'Rourke craze.
Well, supposedly he's a handsome man. I'm not gay, Jamie. I do like Kate Hudson films, but I'm not attracted to men, generally speaking. I look at the guy and he looks like a horse-toothed dork to me. I don't see any kind of savoir-faire that JFK had, or even Bill Clinton when he'd point that thumb and bite his bottom lip. I mean, that was a little cheeky. But Beto. Pierce Morgan, who's no conservative, Pierce Morgan blasted Beto this morning. He says Beto O'Rourke is a deluded loser running on a ticket of lies.
Yeah.
And again, that's Pierce, man. And Pierce ain't no buddy of, Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
But he calls them, like he sees them. And it's just a joke. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait till the debates between all these guys start rolling. They're going to try to virtue signal one another. It's going to be amazing. The apocalyptic delusions that they start spinning when they start going at each other.
Yeah,
and I think it was pretty clear last night. When Tucker and Hannity were talking about how Beto's running on a doom and gloom message. Hundreds of millions of people will be flooding into the United States from nations that are now underwater because we aren't doing anything about the pressing issue of global warming and climate change. That's psycho stuff, man. That's Jim Jones crap.
Yeah, well, and apparently what's weird is Beto comes across like Opie or Marilyn Munster or whatever, but man, his ideas, his policies are downright scary. I mean, this guy voted against ICE and is against even the existence of ICE, and so he's really a wolf in sheep's clothing right now. But nobody seems to understand that, except maybe some people on the far left who only don't trust him because he happens to be kind of a guy who's coming out and saying, I'm going to run a positive campaign, so to speak. You're not going to attack anybody. But other than that, he's more dangerous than an Ocasio-Cortez as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he wants to take the wall down. Told Chris Hayes, MSNBC, wants to pull the wall down between Juarez and El Paso. Are you kidding me? I mean, when I fly into El Paso, and I haven't been there in a while, but you can look down and you could see, okay, one side's blessed and one side's cursed, and to pull that barrier down, Juarez, I think it's like one of the top 10, maybe the top 3 dangerous cities in the world. If I was living in El Paso, I would caterwaul so loudly that your voice or my voice could be heard from sea to shining sea against Beto O'Rourke, because they will flood into those neighborhoods, because Juarez is an abysmal crap hole, as Donald Trump would say.
Yeah, right, exactly, and rightly so. So you mentioned Tucker Carlson. Is it not great to see Tucker fighting back? I mean aggressively fighting back. He's just not simply defending himself. He's now also on the offense, which is what we absolutely need.
Yeah, with all this stuff that they're dredging up from Tucker, chewing the fat with Bubba the Love Sponge, again from 2004 or something like that. I hope to God that somebody goes deep into into Howard Stern's archives and starts pulling out these leftists, these Hollywood stars, and all these other people who said stuff way more shocking than Tucker did. And I like the fact that Tucker has taken it to the guy who's heading up Media Matters. They've been on my case for like 10 or 15 years. And the guy who's now trying to trounce Tucker, he has written on his now defunct blog anti-Semitic stuff. He mocks Bangladeshis.
Oh yeah.
He's got some very serious issues with transgendered and transvestite people that he just he lights them up, Jamie, and he's a liberal. Yeah, he's against us conservatives, and he focuses and he points out when Tucker drops an F-bomb or calls Britney Spears a pirate hooker or something, and then he's got all this stuff in his background, man, just like the Southern Poverty Law Center dude who just got canned.
Yeah.
This guy needs to get canned, and we got to hold them to the same standards, but that's never going to happen because they're on the right side of the page. They're on the left side, Jamie.
Do you know anything more about this guy at Southern Poverty Law Center? Do you know anything more about why this guy was canned?
I thought it was. I thought they were talking about some sex stuff.
That's
man.
what I thought.
82-year-old. Yeah, he's an 82-year-old creeper. Lurching around Southern Poverty Law Center trying to frame Jamie Allman as a hateful bigot.
Yeah.
In the meantime, he's snapping interns' bras and stuff like that. Good riddance, dude.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's so funny how I was mentioning this the other day, especially even with this college scandal. On down the line, everything that the Hollywood elite and the cultural elite tells us about conservatives. Racism, frauds, liars, misogynists, everything else, all seems to be something that is absolutely emblematic of them, not us. It's so weird. I mean, even this whole college fraud thing, I mean, these guys would be the first to tell you that President Trump had it easy and did all this, and they tweet out this and tweet out that, when these people are doing the exact same exact thing that they're blaming all of us and President Trump for doing.
Yeah, liberal privilege, buddy. You know, you got your stupid daughter. Now, listen, Lori Loughlin, I think she's one of the prettiest ladies I've ever seen in my life, man. I mean, she's 54 years old, just drop dead gorgeous, Jamie. She's going to look great in County Orange or Prison Stripes.
Yeah.
You know? She could wear a burlap sack. She's going to look good. But no, again, here they are, the people of privilege. They mock Trump, hate Trump, against Trump. Next thing you know, they're doing worse things than Donald did. I think Donald gave University of Pennsylvania or wherever Donald Jr. went to school, like $100 gift or something. They're loading them up to $500,000 and having their daughter Olivia shimmy up to one of the trustees on their yacht during spring break. This is just this is privilege, man. This is sick privilege. They didn't earn it. Other students that are listening to you right now and their parents, they work their asses off. They study hard, work hard, and then you get this girl simply because she's Lori's pretty daughter, just getting ahead of the line, say that she's a rower in a crew team.
I know.
Great, brother.
Well, you have to.
This ball of yarn is going to come so unraveled. There's so many people crapping their pants right now because they put their dumb kid, into some school because he can't even write his name, but he can play football or whatever, and it's going to unravel and it's going to get gross. And I'm going to eat popcorn and smoke a cigar and laugh my butt off all through it.
Well, and I know it makes me sound like a terrible person, but I was still trying to figure out exactly what is illegal about this, other than maybe like the IRS ties to it or what have you, because I'm sure this happens all the time. I was trying to explain to people, it's like, why is it that if I have enough money, can turn my speeding ticket into a muffler violation? I mean, this kind of stuff happens every day. Where as long as you have cash or money, you can pretty much get out of anything or get into anything. I mean, so I'm trying to figure out what exactly is the crime committed here. So I'll be curious to see actually how this thing plays out. Something tells me that these people aren't going to spend a day in prison except for the ones at the top of the chain there. But I don't know. We'll see. One quick thing about gun laws in New Zealand. It's interesting because this ought to be talked about a little bit, because New Zealand has some pretty restrictive gun laws. You can have a gun, but guns are issued at the behest of the police. You kind of have to have a valid reason to have a gun in New Zealand. So I'm not quite sure how the left is going to turn this into an anti-gun issue.
Yeah, here's something that I wanted to say, and thanks for bringing this up.
Yeah,
man, is that those Muslims that were massacred in those two mosques, I take no joy over that whatsoever. That does not make me happy. It doesn't make me giddy. And that's the big difference between, somebody who's sane and the insane. And when I was watching that this morning and reading up on it and stuff, I felt sick.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that the shooters fled from the second mosque attack. We're going to put it up on ClashDaily.com because a good guy, Jamie, with a gun returned fire, according to the reports that are coming out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A good Muslim with a gun is what it was. I mean, so it's perfect, really, in the end. And again, I'm not trying to politicize this, but I'm trying to run interference on all the ways this will be politicized today. And I mean, I already heard on CNN and Don Lemon's show about how this is all about Trump's rhetoric and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes we just have to look
It's also Candace Owens' fault because the moron put in his manifesto that he really liked Candace Owens.
Oh, no.
And so everybody dogpiles Candace on Twitter. And she's like, are you kidding me? I have no kind of, kill the Muslims rhetoric ever coming out of my mouth that would trigger some, demoniac like this cat. And neither does Donald Trump, and neither does the NRA. This guy's an unhinged loser, and that's how he should be forever remembered. And I hope New Zealand has a death penalty, and they fry this guy for killing 49 innocent people.
Well, and that's the problem with this is that, there are people who will commit violence and violent acts against innocent people that have nothing to do with whatever their issue happens to be. Right. And again, listen, there are people obviously with a lot of issues regarding illegal immigration and violent migrants and terrorists, all that kind of stuff. But if you just really, like here in America, we have millions of Muslims who live in America who do not commit crimes, who aren't terrorists and everything else, and they don't tell you everything you need to know about how sick it is to actually blame an entire segment of people for the acts of a few, and maybe actually the left can take this as an example because that tends to be what they do.
I wonder during the Son of Sam murders if the left went after black labs because didn't Berkowitz say that his black lab was talking to him?
Yeah, yeah.
The black lab made me do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, Doug. Hey, man, that picture, that painting is beautiful, buddy. And DougGiles.art is where you can find it. And, of course, at 9:30, a little bit after 9:30, I'm going to go ahead and play you this bit that Doug sent me from the Warriors and the Wild Man podcast and what they do. They do these short little hits that I love that I'm going to try to infuse in the show on a regular basis. So keep up the great work, man, and appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks, Jamie. Stay ready, brother.
You too, brother. That's Doug Giles, ClashDaily.com. This is Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Looks like our area roadways are clearing out nicely as delay times already on the way down. Some good news as the earlier problem, police activity on the ramp, eastbound 70 at 370. That's been taken care of as they've reopened the exit, but watch for a delay back to Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Crews also picked up that earlier crash westbound 70 near Jennings Station. Still some minor leftover delays on the northbound side of 270 that begin right near Big Bend. Westbound 270 slows as you approach the Chain of Rocks Bridge. This traffic report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you this because it's a great testament to the wonders of MyPillow. And MyPillow, when they came to the All in the Morning show and said, hey, we want you to sell some pillows for us, I said, well, that'll be easy because I'm already a customer of MyPillow. I've been a long time MyPillow sleeper. And so I love the MyPillow. It's everything that Mike says it is when he's on the air there, Mike Lindell. And you see him, you know him. He's a passionate guy about his pillows, and I'm here to tell you everything he says about them when you see him on the commercials is absolutely right. And I'm not an easy sell all the time, but I went ahead and popped into a MyPillow, and you're gonna love what MyPillow does for you, for your sleep, for your comfort, any neck issues, any weird ways you sleep. The MyPillow will adjust to every single bit of any kind of particular way in which you need to have a nice night's sleep. And that, of course, now he's transferred that beauty and that comfort into the MyPillow Dream Sheets, which are sleeping you coolly and comfortably, just like a luxurious hotel. You can have that kind of bed sheet in your own home now with the MyPillow Dream Sheets. MyPillow is offering a 4-pack that includes 2 premium MyPillows along with 2 Go Anywhere pillows plus shipping. The Go Anywhere pillows are you can just take them with you. They're easy to pull with you on vacation or your business trip or whatever it happens to be. The MyPillow you can take with you thanks to the 2 Go Anywhere pillows. Plus, you're going to get 30% off on these fabulous Dream Sheets. Here's how you do it, though. You got to use my name. Drop my name at 800-964-3187, 800-964-3187, and you use my promo code Jamie, and you are in, or go to MyPillow.com.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand with Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. KXFN St. Louis, K287BY St. Louis.
Rick Pogue here with Arrowhead Building Supply, the region's #1 specialty exterior building supplier. Arrowhead has the widest range of exterior products, from the most economical and commodity items to our highest end outside elegance collection. If you need a contractor, Arrowhead supplies products to hundreds of the best contractors and builders in the business. Call us for a contractor referral and rest easy. The Arrowhead Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change it with just a touch of your finger. Now you can be 100% confident in your selections before they are installed in your home. Our product showrooms are the largest and most beautiful in the industry. We make it simple to experience a full range of siding, roofing, window, door, deck, and even stone options for your home or business. Check us out at arrowheadbuildingsupply.com or visit an Arrowhead showroom near you today in St. Peters, Missouri, Peebly, Missouri, and Fairview Heights, Illinois. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success.
arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Hey, it's Allman from Allman in the Morning. I want to tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call my friend Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also the top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman plantation shutters. Those are beautiful. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. So cut down on the risk of error. Schedule your appointment today with Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, ProctorDrapery.com.
Unprecedented act of violence. That's how New Zealand's Prime Minister describes a deadly attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch. At least 49 people killed, dozens wounded. The BBC's Gordon Carrera says tiny country of 5 million is stunned.
The attack is a profound shock to New Zealand. It came without warning to a country which has not seen this kind of violence before. Mass shootings are rare, and New Zealand tightened its gun laws to restrict access to semi-automatic rifles in 1992, although individuals can apply for a shotgun licence after doing a safety course. One of those involved is believed to have been an Australian-born man who left a manifesto online suggesting the attack had been 2 years in the planning and that New Zealand may not have been the original target.
One man is under arrest and charged with murder in what appeared to be a carefully planned attack. 2 other armed suspects being held. Police also defused explosive devices in a car. The White House expressing condolences and is denouncing the violence.
In a White House statement, Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the United States strongly condemns the attack in Christchurch, and she offers thoughts and prayers for the victims and their families. President Trump tweeted his warmest sympathy and best wishes to the people of New Zealand, calling it a horrible massacre and that the U.S. stands by New Zealand.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. Later today, President Trump may use his veto pen for the very first time, this after the Senate rejected his southern border emergency declaration. As it continued its march across the Midwest, a late winter storm system has spawned devastating flooding in parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. U.S. industrial production edged 0.1% higher last month. Manufacturing slowed for a second straight month. Stocks are higher on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up about 15 points. The S&P 500 index trading 9 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
emergency crews have blocked off the off-ramp on the eastbound side of 70 onto 370. This is all because of police activity in the area. No word on when that will reopen. Eastbound 270 slowing up between Lindbergh and 170. Watch for delays on the westbound side of 270 right near the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Eastbound 6440 on the Breaks McKnight into Big Bend. We've got some slow spots as well on the westbound side. Tie-ups begin right near Hampton into the Clede Station. This traffic report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic this morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and a little bit cooler today. Winds from the west-northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and cold this evening. Winds from the west-northwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour, low 30. Mostly sunny and chilly for Saturday, high 50. Sunday, partly sunny and cool, high 51. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
When you listen to the Ed Martin Movement, you never know who's going to drop in.
Roma Downey is famous for being an actress, a well-known leader in the community, and today, a New York Times bestseller.
My judgment of a successful book will be knowing that one person, whoever they are, gets the book and it helps them through a time of struggle.
Well, I wrote mine to get on the New York Times bestseller list. No, I'm just teasing.
Tune in to the Ed Martin Movement, weekdays from 3 to 5 to find out who's dropping in next.
Mary, the child you bear will become the greatest of men.
From the network that brought you the Bible.
There has been talk about Jesus. They say he's healing the sick.
Comes the life of Jesus Christ.
His preaching is what concerns me. He's helping people.
From those who knew him best.
We are his followers. We've seen him do wondrous things.
I am the resurrection and the life.
Jesus, his life. Monday, March 25th at 8 on History.
You love that smell. That new truck smell. All cleaned up and ready to go.
Did you get your vent visor?
You know, the rain guard that goes over your window? Stop by Custom Car and Truck in O'Fallon, Illinois for free installation and lifetime warranty on vent visors.
How about your bug shield? You don't want to mess up the hood of your new truck with dead bugs. Keep them off the hood with free installation and lifetime warranty bug shield.
See John and the crew off Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Or online at CustomCarAndTruck.com.
This hour of Allman in the Morning is brought to you in part by Dr. Anna Smith. Come see what your smile can be at Dentistry with TLC.
Common Sense Radio with Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Never mind. Fake.
Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze.
It's the second day in a row I missed the national anthem, man. What's wrong with me? I know.
Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
I'm so unpatriotic. You know what I mean? I'm the Colin Kaepernick of radio. Look at me. Oh, I actually just forgot about it. I don't know what's going on. I think just because it's such a busy morning, and yesterday morning was a busy morning, that I didn't do the national anthem. So I'm ashamed of myself, and I'm apologizing to all of America and to the entirety of the Allman in the Morning crew and the Common Sense Nation. And you all are unpatriotic too because you didn't tell me. So we're all going down. No, I will make sure I hit it at 9:20 before we break with Sonny and Ben, because I'll get to it. But 2 days in a row where I don't do the national anthem at 6:20 is shameful, and I apologize to all of the United States of America, to God and to country for not playing that. And I'm serious. Don't laugh. I'm not being jokey. I'm telling you. What's up, guys? Hey, we were talking about the upcoming Lincoln Days, and by the way, people are livid over this Roy Blunt thing. I'm getting texted by everybody, and everybody's on Facebook and Twitter. I don't know what Roy Blunt thinks he's doing. I guess, these guys, some of these Republicans think that as long as they just go on these namby-pamby radio shows where they think people are listening, that they will be able to satisfy whatever it is they're trying to satisfy. But the people out there who are passionate and who would be on your side in any other time and who have your back and who helped you get elected and reelected, you're disappointing them. And I just go back to this idea that, I worked really hard to get Roy Blunt reelected, and I like him personally, but this vote, I don't care what your reasoning is, was the wrong way to go. Anyway, we've already talked about that, beaten that horse to death, and we'll focus on that. I know that, Ben, you guys are going to actually be more civil than I was about it and write him a note and see if he'll meet with you guys. I tried to get him on the air. He won't come on the air, so this is the way it goes. This next weekend, this is where things are so weird. On the 23rd, we have Lincoln Days, right? St. Louis County Lincoln Days.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. So Sheriff Joe is going to be the keynote speaker at Lincoln Days.
Yes, he is.
So speaking of these namby-pamby Republicans,
rhinos,
Republicrats as I call them, these guys, some of these people are all refusing to go now, right?
They are.
The usual suspects. If you looked at the same people who took down Eric Greitens, you'll see the list is similar of those who are not going, who are decided they're not going to go to Lincoln Days because of Sheriff Joe.
I agree with you. It is.
Yeah, our most vocal opponent here is our good Republican Shamed Dogan.
State representative.
Yes, calling out the chair of the Republican Party as being racist. She's racist for inviting Sheriff Joe.
Did he really call her racist?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
I even approached him. I went to his office there at the Capitol, and I said, Shamed, if you're upset and you have problems with the sheriff, I'd be more than glad to have a one-on-one meeting, and you could address your issues with him and allow him to respond.
So why is Sheriff Joe called a racist?
The profiling. And, this is the thing is this. At the Eagle Forum, he did share with the audience, Sheriff Joe's daughter has adopted 4 children. And it's a rainbow. They have an Asian. They have a Down syndrome African-American male. And he loves those kids. And if you see him with his grandkids, Sheriff Joe is nothing. There's nothing I've ever seen that would say that he's a racist.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So, and there's the worst part about this is that people are just lying about the circumstances surrounding the legal peril that he wound up in, and that was because they call what he did, contempt of court, a felony when it was not a felony.
Well, that actually goes back to McCain. In his book, he says that Sheriff Joe was a convicted felon.
Oh, really?
That's where it all started from. And Rolling Stones continued that story, New York Times, and so forth. And that's why Larry Klayman is actually, Corsi's lawyer, is actually Sheriff Joe's a lawyer, and who is actually suing the New York Times and Rolling Stones.
Wow.
Because, what they said is, it's not true. He's not a felon. He was never convicted as a felon. It was a misdemeanor, contempt of court.
Yeah.
A good attorney, if you haven't been charged with contempt of court, they all have. It's nothing really that major. But he spent $5 million defending himself until Trump came in and pardoned him.
Right.
And that's usually what the problem is. People say the pardon.
Well, and let me ask you this, because you all are intelligent people, and the Republican Party, as I see it, the local Republicans and grassroots Republicans are smart. You chose Sheriff Joe for a reason to come here. Why was that?
Well, it's because the border right now, the wall, it's a big issue. Sheriff Joe has been defending that border most of his entire career.
Before anybody really actually truly cared about it.
A lot of people don't realize that Sheriff Joe, before he became sheriff, he worked with the DEA. And he had all South America. And so he worked with all those countries, drug enforcement, working with the U.S. government on the border. So he's been over 30 years experience with the DEA.
Wow.
Sheriff Joe's defending our southern border when the federal government would not do it. And not only under Obama, but also under Bush.
That's true.
So who else isn't showing, who else has been public about not wanting to show up at the event? Are you chewing gum?
I am. Did you hear me smack?
No, I just was wondering if you're chewing gum.
But who else is actually showing up? Who's not going to show? I don't know. There's been a number of people.
I know that originally Gene Evans made a point to Renee Artman. She was very concerned. I don't think she actually called her racist. She knows better. But she was concerned, and I don't know if she's showing or not. I don't know how that
The
ever
new
played
executive
out.
director for the GOP.
Nice.
Gene Evans.
Yeah. Well,
actually, Ben and I ran into her right before we came into your studio.
In the green room.
Yeah.
And she acted like she didn't even know me. I'm like, I just ran for
Persona
the
non
state
grata.
chair. There was only two of us.
Right.
A woman and a man, right? And
she knew who you were, Sonny. Come on.
Well, it's interesting. If she has an issue with a convicted felon, why would she go on a convicted felon's TV show?
Ooh.
That's I mean, like, why would she go on Scott Fawn's Missouri Times as one of his pigeons? Why would she go on his show if she's concerned about the appearance of convicted felons? Even though Joel Parry was not, actually.
That's right. Misdemeanor.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
All the standards we have, I'll tell you. It's pretty interesting.
I missed the hee-haw music there.
There it goes. Come on the show, Gene Evans.
Oh, man. Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie, to change the subject.
Yes, please do.
Because I can see we're going to run out of time. But I wanted to update the story from last week. The illegal gambling.
The gaming story, right.
Well, Missouri Senator Dave Schatz, representing the 26th District, President Pro Tem of the Senate, he put forth legislation that would basically force the Gaming Commission to call a spade a spade. These machines are illegal. Now, I just found out it came out of committee this week. It passed out of committee and will move into the process. So thank goodness somebody in Missouri is trying to bring Miltonberger to task. How this guy is not being prosecuted, for goodness sake, he must have some high-placed cover to be able to pull off this scam and take revenues out of the education fund, basically, is what he's doing.
Yeah, and essentially, this is not, like, for instance, I have no problem with people who want to part ways with their own money.
Get that.
I understand that. But what's happening here, though, is that they're out there and they've proliferated throughout the St. Louis area and Missouri, even before they've been made legal.
Absolutely, Jamie.
That's a problem.
It's a
They're
question of
stealing
rule of law.
$300 million of revenue that would go to the education fund for the state.
$300 million.
$300 million.
That's how
I didn't hear that one. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's how much they're making with these machines.
I think that number's probably in.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
No. It's the portion that they would receive, the state would receive, that would go for the education.
Yeah.
Because any lotto, that whole thing was from the first time when we set it in place. Was to go to education.
Right, so they claim. I mean, that's another story because it's really not going to.
Right.
Yeah. I guarantee you, people who are listening to this show, if they asked their school just how much money they get from the Missouri Lottery, it would be zero because there were hold harmless districts all over the place here. Too wealthy to get money from the lottery.
Watching the clock, I've got two more issues.
Yes.
All right. I will be at America First Mo today at noon. We're at Merrimack Station Road in Valley Park, 912C Merrimack Station Road in Valley Park. That's the southwest corner of 44 and 141.
Right.
And I'll be there having these signs available to support the anti-merger cause. Come by and see me. I'll be there at noon.
Okay, so keep those up there because
Hey,
these
how
are
about
the
that?
so you can actually get a stop the forced merger yard sign.
Absolutely, and help us cover our costs. That'd be great. I will have them available. And look forward to seeing you down there today.
And stopmerger.org is kind of a website where you do have a clearinghouse of information as to why this merger is suspicious to all of
Oh, absolutely. We're adding to it every day. As a matter of fact, a group of us from stopmerge.org and others were at the Chesterfield City Council meeting on Monday. And we all spoke against the merger, of course, and they were coming out and basically told us that there's not much that Chesterfield can do in terms of starting their own county or seeding from St. Louis County. But what's interesting is take a look at West News Magazine's cover. It's classic. They've got a guy beating a piñata, and the piñata is the merger. And the story is about us. I mean, there wasn't a single pro-merger speaker, yet we had there must have been 6 or 8 of us who just laid away this this power grab, this elitist tyranny ploy by the Better Together people.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting, too, and we've talked about this, and I know it's too complicated to kind of get into the weeds on it, but I will tell you, though, that the problem with this are the people who are fronting it. And so this is not just a bunch of people who are Cro-Magnons who don't want to develop a strong economic region, who don't want to do this and don't want to look at all the options. The problem is, this is, as you point out, when this is the forced merger, we're suddenly presented with this idea and a plan, and they say, this is our plan, and if you don't like it, you're either racist, stupid, or
selfish.
You don't care about the economy, whatever. And the fact of the matter is that's been the hiccup in the presentation of this. Otherwise, legitimate discussion that could be had, because we're one of only 2. St. Louis is only one of only 2 cities in the country that are not a county seat, and I understand that. So there are always legitimate issues to talk about, and ways also to relook and redo the construct. In fact, who was the guy that ran against Stenger in the Democratic primary? I forgot his name. He's a good guy, actually. Italian
Mantovani.
Mantovani. Yeah, and actually, I remember talking to him about this, and he said, I don't support a full merger, but I support all kinds of different mechanisms that you can merge the county and the city together in terms of harmonious relationships that will create a great, strong economic region. It's not unlike, for instance, Obamacare. There were ways to fix the healthcare system that didn't need a gigantic omnibus bill like Obamacare. Mm-hmm. One of the classic ones was the passage of a law that would allow transference of health insurance plans across state lines. Like, your sign company could merge with somebody in Illinois and pool your money together and buy an insurance plan that way. That's currently illegal under federal law. That could have been changed, and once you had the mobility of insurance plans, that would have loosened up the costs of insurance, would have created cost effectiveness. The drug reduction, pharmaceutical, we could have changed that, but instead we got this gigantic bill that wound up not only taxing people, but also hurting the personal economies of many people. Part-time workers suddenly found themselves, having to be forced to cut their hours because you couldn't reach a certain level without having to give them insurance. All this stuff happened. I compared it to people having a problem with a barking dog and deciding their solution would be to shoot it.
One thing that I'm just dumbfounded by, the one service that they're not going to fix and merge them all together is the education.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's one of the biggest problems with the city of St. Louis is its school system.
Right. And then when they want to say that we're racist because we don't want to help out the inner city, why not the education first? Let's fix that. Let's merge that together.
Yeah, I mean,
and they won't.
Right. I mean, that's the problem. And again, so it's all about them taking a swing and a miss here on this issue, and then calling us all stupid because we just don't get it.
Well, think about the logistics of this actually taking place. The police force for St. Louis County and you eliminate all these little municipality police departments.
Right.
I can see this just being a disaster.
Yeah. Well, it's a central government power grab is what it is, and you got to be very careful about that. Now, again, do I think that this idea of having Velda Village Hills and all these other that kind of operation, I think you could. There's a lot of savings you could get by merging some of these folks, but you can do that without a larger kind of centralized government initiative like this.
Well, saving, those townships, they actually, the tax revenue would pay those services. Those individuals who live there, they pay for those services.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So really, how is it going to save the county or the city any money?
Right.
Because those tax revenues is what pays for those services.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for being with us.
Jamie, I want to throw out a quick plug to Salem, bringing on John B. Wells' Arc Midnight syndicated show on Saturday nights.
Oh,
It's a
really?
big deal, yeah.
No kidding.
Oh, that's a big deal, man.
I've never heard of that before.
Oh, well,
Should I have?
Yeah, because he would talk to you about the vaccination I saw him jab you with. John B., we'd talk about they vaxxed you. Not only did they hit you with tetanus, they also hit you. What's the other crap? Can I say? Oh, yeah.
Are you a non-vaccination person?
No. I'm an anti-vaxxer, but I saw
am.
Jamie get vaccinated. They hit you with...
I didn't get vaccinated. I got a tetanus shot.
That's a vaccine, dude.
Yeah.
They hit you with not only tetanus, but diphtheria and pertussis. It's got aluminum phosphate in it and formaldehyde. I hope you feel okay, buddy.
I do. Well,
I hope you don't go autistic on me.
I have a little bit of an aluminum taste in my mouth right now. Now that you think about it, I thought that was the can of Monster I was drinking, but it's
got that
damn
conspiracy in there, didn't I?
No, I'm. Here's the thing. I'm not a non-vaccine person, but I support people who are non-vaccine persons.
Thank you for your support.
So no, I'm saying I'm not one of. I get my kids vaccinated, but I'm not a.
I don't. And
right.
this is the thing is this: my boy's mom, she's a doctor of pharmacology.
Right.
So now think
no,
about
I
that.
take
if we don't vaccinate our children. And that's her profession,
right?
Tell it.
No, I know. And again, I'm not saying that. I'm not in that camp that once again has these judgments against these people. And you keep in mind. Did you see what happened though last week with all the vaccine stories that came out?
Because of the measles. Because we're being invaded by people with measles.
But you noticed that it was a regimented media
total onslaught.
On Fox, they were talking about the boy who slashed his forehead on the farm.
And the boy who sued his mom who wouldn't give him a vaccine, right? And then they came out with the study. And I actually predicted this. Remember that, Phil? I was on the air. I said, I'm seeing these stories, and they're all kind of creeping in.
They do.
Because this is a regimented, purposeful campaign to make everybody who refuses to vaccinate their kids look like a bunch of dangerous, stupid people. And I'll be darned if there wasn't a story a day on this thing. Jamie, it's died out, but still.
Here's boy, I got to go on for this. This is always one of my passion. I have parents reach out to me all the time because the one thing that they always tell you that your children cannot attend public schools without being vaccinated. Lie.
Not true.
Absolute lie. There is no law. It's a recommendation, but they will tell you it's the law, and it's not the case. Parents reach out to me and say, Sonny, can you help me? Because I don't want to vaccinate my kids, but they won't let them in.
We're headed toward mandatory vaccinations. And
California.
I'll tell you what, Google vaccinations. You'd have to go down 100+ stories to find one pro anti-vax story. Everything's about how all the anti-vaxxers are crazy as it can be, and vaccines are yummy, take them all. And my goodness, I just heard you can get a vaccine at the library, for goodness sake, now.
Well, look at the whistleblower with the CDC, which he still he's still with the CDC. And he actually talked about the combo shot that they had where they were having problems with African-American males. They were having the biggest reaction, and they had the data to prove it. The CDC did.
Yeah. I know. I take a lot of my cues from Dr. Eric Naputi, who is very knowledgeable, and his wife Jody are very knowledgeable about the dangers and the perils of certain vaccinations. And so, and I trust Dr. Naputi like my brother. He knows everything there is to know about health, and so that's where I kind of take my cues from. I do get my kids vaccinated, but nonetheless, that constitutes my support.
Well,
for people
like a
who choose
libertarian,
not to.
you know what? That's the choice you make.
Yeah,
and you know what? And I respect that.
Yeah.
I don't judge you for that. You're a parent. That's your choice. Just like if I choose not to, it's my choice as a
Absolutely,
parent.
yeah.
And
I'm all for. I mean, this is the same thing they did to people who homeschooled their kids. They made them out to be these crazy lunatics who were they made it out to be some kind of like cult or something because they homeschooled their kids. Some of the best kids I know are homeschooled kids.
Well, the Raggedy Ann story. The Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
You should really look up what that is actually a tragedy from a reaction that they lost their child.
Oh, really?
During the polio epidemic.
Oh, wow.
And when they gave the polio shot.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, guys.
I could go on for. I'd say, if you ever want to have me on for that alone,
listen. It's definitely a fascinating discussion. I'm sure everybody out there in Facebook land and on Twitter, if they're watching the show, are really into this and probably for the most part agree with you guys. So,
thanks, Jamie.
Okay, man.
You're the best.
Take care. Don't forget about the stopmerger.org website. And at noon today, you're going to be out at America First Missouri.
Jamie, repeat. America First Mo. There's an Operation America First Missouri that's something that we get confused with. AmericaFirstMo.com.
Okay.
Thanks, Jamie.
Is there America First Missouri?
Yeah, it's some Facebook thing going on. I don't know.
You should threaten to sue them.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, for copyright violations.
Shame on him. Jamie, thanks for having us. Hey,
great to see you guys.
Sorry for crashing.
No, that's okay, man. I just,
It was his idea.
It's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind people crashing the show, as we've discussed before. I don't mind that.
He just needs a controlled crash. That's what we got to control crash this thing.
Let me know. It's called Allman in the Morning for a reason. Just telling you.
Love you, bro.
All right, buddy. We'll be back.
Call the show at 844-855-1380 and interact with Jamie on the calltammy.com listener line. That's 844-855-1380. More Allman in the Morning next on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to KDDI-INS.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to KDDI-INS.com.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. I got to tell you, Michael Reynolds, a great friend of mine, started Michael's Flooring Outlet with $700 in his pocket more than 25 years ago. And man, is he amazing. And he is great when it comes to your flooring needs in terms of the products. And he's great when it comes to the installation. And he's great when it comes to variety as well. If you go to michaelsflooringoutlet.com, you will see page after page after page. In fact, I went to the let's see, was it the laminate side or the wood flooring side? Either way, there were 3,000 different varieties of choices you can have. So, man, you will just knock yourself out looking for great ways to perfect that floor in your home, whether it be with wood flooring, ceramic tiling, the laminates, you name it. And customer service is #1 for Michael. I know that's important to you. So if you just go to michaelsflooringoutlet.com or you go to Google and look up Michael's Flooring Outlet reviews, you will see on average a 4.9 out of 5 score when it comes to personal service from Michael. So check it out on the web. It's michaelsflooringoutlet.com, michaelsflooringoutlet.com, with 4 locations throughout the St. Louis area, including the original location started with $700 right there in beautiful St. Peters. It's michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. An extraordinary, unprecedented act of violence. That's how New Zealand's Prime Minister describes the deadly attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch. At least 49 people killed, dozens wounded. A small country of 5 million is stunned, completely unaccustomed to such bloodshed. 1 man is under arrest and charged with murder in what appeared to be a carefully planned attack. 2 other armed suspects are being held. The White House expressing condolences and is denouncing the violence. Later today, President Trump may use his veto pen for the very first time after the Senate rejected his southern border emergency declaration. As it continued its march across the Midwest, a late winter storm unleashed devastating flooding in parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. On Wall Street, the Dow now down 7 points, while the S&P is up 9. More details at srnnews.com.
And liberals have done.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Looks like we're already starting to see some thinning out of delays. Things are looking better on the eastbound side of 270 between Lindbergh and 170. The earlier problems on the westbound side of 6440 have been taken care of between Hampton and Laclede Station. Looking a whole lot better southbound 5570 right near Exchange into 64. Eastbound 6440 on the brakes McKnight into Big Bend. Still have the off-ramp blocked from the eastbound side of 70 onto 370 with police activity. That's created a bit of a thicker double-digit delay back to Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. This traffic report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, their grief is unique, but you're not alone. MAD is here to help. Call their 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org. I'm Dominic Fortini with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and a little bit cooler today. Winds from the west-northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and cold this evening. Winds from the west-northwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour, low 30. Mostly sunny and chilly for Saturday, high 50. Sunday, partly sunny and cool, high 51. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dana Lash.
They tell you this so they can suppress you. They tell you there isn't an even playing field. You were born in this socioeconomic status, and the only way you will ever get out of that socioeconomic status is if you support our policies, because we're not going to lift you out of that socioeconomic status, but what we're going to do is make everyone equal in mediocrity. We won't help lift anyone up. We'll drag people down.
The Dana Show. Weekdays at 1 on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
This hour of Allman in the Morning is brought to you in part by Dr. Anna Smith, the #1 provider of oral sleep appliances in the United States. Learn more at cpapsucks.com.
Hey, want to talk with Jamie? Call 844-855-1380. 844-855-1380. And interact with Common Sense Radio. This is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
I'm booking myself a one-way flight. I gotta see the color in your eyes. You're telling myself I'm gonna be alright. Without you, baby, is a waste of time. Yeah, our first date, girl, the seasons changed. It got washed away in a summer rain. You can't undo a fall like this, 'cause love don't know what distance is. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but I don't want good and I don't want good enough. I want can't sleep, can't breathe without your love.
How's everybody doing? Happy Friday. What's going on, y'all? Download what you've heard all this morning and give me a call. The calltammy.com listener line. (844-855-1380). The Tammy.com real estate listener line is open, everybody. We'll see how this whole thing shakes out with the situation over there in New Zealand. I'm trying to not at the same time, in conjunction with what everybody else is doing, and that is try to politicize this. But I do believe that we need to kind of put together a defensive posture, because keep in mind, once the news media and others just get bored with the facts of the case, then they have to have something for their 9-member panels to talk about. They have to have something for these people to talk about. So what you're going to get is a bunch of navel-gazing weirdos who you have no idea who they are. You're not going to know their names. They're going to pop out of nowhere on 5-member panels and double boxes and everything else, just simply vomiting all kinds of ridiculous theories about what happened and who's responsible and blah, blah, blah. We already heard from Doug Giles about the fact that the manifesto, these guys always have, I'm so tired of these manifestos. Why does everybody have a manifesto? These people are just crazy. Anyway, so they have this manifesto, and apparently they are attempting to claim that somehow Candace Owens, because this guy listened to discussions in conservative media outlets or conservative social platforms regarding illegal immigration, that it made these guys this guy do what he did. And apparently they had arrested a woman involved in here too. So that's what's happening. So you're going to hear that. Once they glom onto that, you're going to hear that all day long. You're going to hear about Trump rhetoric, for instance. I mean, the classic example is what happened here on the Don Lemon show, as Don was wearing his.
We know one of his big.
Don was wearing his tragedy glasses, and this guy made to something or other.
Muslim victims of terrorism tonight in New Zealand. I mentioned the attack in Canada, Quebec City, shortly after Trump was inaugurated. There have been attempted attacks and attacks in Minnesota, in various places across the U.S.
Did you catch that shortly after Trump was inaugurated? And this is just inexcusable hackery on the part of these people. But it doesn't stop there.
We do need to start taking this seriously. Hate crimes against minorities, against Jewish groups, against Muslim communities, against people of color are on the rise in Britain, across Western Europe, United States, Canada, Australia, and now, sadly, New Zealand. And that requires politicians to take the problem seriously and also to deal with their language. You asked Matthew earlier about, is there someone out there tonight who's going to hear Trump's rhetoric and act on it? I mean, less than 6 months ago, we know one of his big supporters.
Yeah, so this is how it's going to go for the most part on CNN and MSNBC. Ocasio-Cortez has already attacked has already gone after the NRA over the matter. These people have no shame when it comes to trying to utilize the deaths and tragedies of people for the advancement of their causes. And you might say, well, kind of, aren't you doing the same thing by, actually attacking them? Not really. Because what's happening here is we're having to put up with people who don't know that. We saw what they did with the Covington kids. We saw what the news media did with that. They didn't get that story right. So Ocasio-Cortez is deciding that she's going to tweet out, "What good are your thoughts and prayers," just like Don Lemon did, and then talk about the NRA for some reason. When New Zealand has some very strict gun laws. In fact, in New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken, based on the research I've done, in New Zealand, you can't have a gun unless the authorities approve you having a gun. You have to actually have a reason to have a gun in New Zealand. So it'd be interesting to find out how this person was able to get a hold of the gun. Now, here's the other thing, or the guns they used. The other thing is... unfortunately, there is on social media a bunch of video of this thing because they live streamed the shooting. So the social media folks are desperately trying to wipe this off of the social media platforms because there's actually video of it. But believe me, it's going to be impossible. You'll wind up finding it. Back to Candace Owens, though. So what happened is the commentator Candace Owens, and apparently Kanye West has been one of those people who she's influenced because he said that. So what happened is in several tweets, there were people who were going after her because the suspect in the shootings named her as his biggest influence in a lengthy manifesto. So in a bunch of tweets, Owens jeered at the people who she said were attempting to pin responsibility for the massacre on her. And she put a LOL on the tweet that she put out. In fact, I've never created any content espousing my views on the Second Amendment or Islam. So how could you possibly believe that Candace Owens is responsible for this death? And that's the other thing too, is that people on the left and these others always try to simplify these things and try to make them as comfortable as possible in terms of using them to their advantage. And so if it's somebody who hates Trump already, this automatically becomes a Trump issue. If it's somebody who hates guns already, this automatically becomes a gun issue. If somebody hates conservative commentators already, this becomes a conservative commentator issue. And you're not getting nearly the exploration, the kind of exploration you got when, for instance, that guy went out from Belleville. Thank you for representing Belleville, sir. went out to D.C. and shot up a baseball game with Republicans. You got about maybe, 10 seconds of that discussion about his influences, and then that was it. And again, do I think Hillary Clinton caused him to go out and shoot Republicans? No, of course not. Do I even think Democrats went out and caused him to shoot Republicans? No, I would never say that, because it's too cheap and it's anti-intellectual to pursue these kinds of things. And believe me, there are a lot of people who listen to Candace Owens or watch her that don't go out and shoot people. There are a lot of Muslims who are, most Muslims who are minding their own business and not attacking people or using anti-Semitic tropes against Israel. So you can't really just broad brush everybody, but it's going to be broad brush city today. And wait till they have 24 hours to fill on the weekends. That's going to be even worse, because they've got 24 hours to fill, and they're going to busy themselves with this kind of navel gazing that we're seeing already. Frank is on line one. Frank, thanks for calling the show, buddy. How you doing?
Great, Jamie. Love your program.
Thank you, sir.
Just a couple quick questions. And I am, with a broad brush, going to paint the media.
Okay.
Not all media, because you guys are part of the media.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
By and large, remember the reporting on Michael Brown in Ferguson, because that started a lot of this, whatever you want to call it, because it's definitely not news. I called in all the local TV stations when the Michael Brown thing was going on, and almost to a person, they'd hang up on me. I said, this is not news. You don't know the facts. All your broadcasting is a riot. But that didn't deter any of them. So I hold our local media especially responsible for a lot of what went on in Ferguson. The other thing, Jamie, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, in not all, but some of the Muslim countries, when Christians are killed wholesale, or homosexuals are stoned or thrown off buildings, where's Don Lemon and the media when those atrocities happen?
Oh, no! Look what happened. Look what happened after Obozo decided to run into Egypt and help with the Muslim Brotherhood. That was the first time in Egyptian history that Coptic Christian churches were set on fire.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, but nobody. When Christians are massacred, there's never any tears shed or any face fanning going on in the news media ever. And I'm not saying that means that we shouldn't sympathize with what happened in New Zealand, and you're not saying that either. What we're saying is, though, it seems odd that some people's lives are worth more than others in the eyes of the media. You know,
exactly.
It happens. Unfortunately, they actually even believe that when in Chicago, they believe that a black person shot by a cop is a lot more valuable than a black person shot by another black person on the streets of Chicago. This is a weekend in Chicago, by the way. What happened in New Zealand? I mean, not 49 dead, but let's put it this way. This is like 2 weeks in Chicago. I'll be more generous with the facts here. So
okay,
yeah,
I'll give you that.
And there's no problem that people have. I don't see Ocasio-Cortez talking about the problems in Chicago, Barack Obama, Don Lemon, or anybody talking about the ritual massacre that's happening in Chicago. So black people could have the same complaint that, well, what do I have to do? Be a Muslim at a mosque to get any kind of attention? So yeah, you're right.
But Jamie, that's exactly my point.
Yeah,
people are being killed all over the world, and if it doesn't fit the agenda of the media, and I'm sorry to say, well, I'm not sorry to say because I think it's a fact. The Democrat Party, if the narrative the news media wants to put out there doesn't fit the Democrat narrative, it doesn't get reported. It's more propaganda than it is news.
Yeah.
And thank God for stations like yours that at least gives you the other side of the story.
Yeah,
because it's not one-sided.
Right on, Frank. I appreciate you, man. And even to take it further, thanks for calling the show. Even to take it further, if you're a black person killed by a white cop, your life actually is more valuable in the media's eyes than if you're a black person killed by a black cop. I mean, we could go on and on and on about these confusing standards that the news media set. And now, obviously my first response to this massacre is that it's a terrible tragedy and a horrible thing to have happened. But what's going to happen in the ensuing days or the ensuing hours is they're going to try to pin this, the media is going to pin this on the people they don't like. This manifesto, by the way, apparently represents a hodgepodge of a bunch of different ideologies. There are white nationalist talking points in it. The shooter describes himself as a fascist and calls himself a socialist too, depending on the definition. This guy sounds like just your run-of-the-mill standard issue sicko who is enveloped in all kinds of different thought processes but can't really nail anyone down, so he's got to kind of do it that way. And he also had hopes of inciting some kind of civil war in the U.S. and all that kind of stuff. And he says conservatism is dead, thank God. It disparages, the shooter disparages conservatism and doesn't identify with it. He says, conservatism is dead, thank God, calling it corporatism in disguise. Conservatives, he says, don't even believe in the race. They don't have the gall to say race exists and don't even care if it does. So I don't even know what this guy doesn't sound like he's very lucid here. The notion of a racial future or destiny is as foreign to them as social responsibility. See, I don't get that. And the social the guy sounds like he's kind of more in line with a Antifa Bernie bro than anything else. Tell you the truth. Also in the document, he identifies Candace Owens. She's not a white nationalist or a supporter of violence, of course. As the person that has influenced me above all, in a video posted online, so this guy's all over the internet. They're trying to get him off of there, but they're not going to be able to do it. And the shooter in the video tells viewers to subscribe to PewDiePie, PewDiePie. You know about that, Phil?
Oh yeah. He's like really like the top most famous like YouTuber dude. I mean, he's got his own like industry built off of his basic podcast. He started doing a webcast a long time ago, and he's really famous. Probably.
So he's a comedian, video game streamer who runs his is the most subscribed channel on YouTube, and a majority of it is non-political. And in fact, at one point, the shooter blames his action on a video game title saying Spyro the Dragon 3 taught me ethno-nationalism and Fortnite trained me to be a killer. So, actually, my son plays Fortnite. But this guy, I actually don't know how old he is. He's probably late 20s, right? Is he? Late 20s? Yeah, I mean, those people, watch out for that type, who's still gaming at the late 20s end. You're gonna get all. I've seen some of the people on these sites before because I know Aiden plays some of these games online and things like that. I've seen some of these people. They have no business still gaming when you're in that. I mean, I understand people who are older. I mean, I know some people who do it for recreation. I don't think there's any difference in recreational gaming than there is in turning on the TV and watching Murder, She Wrote, tell you the truth. I mean, it's just one form. It's another form of entertainment for people. Just because you actually turn on a PS4 or whatever it is when you get home from work, even if you're 40, doesn't mean you're crazy. I'm talking about these people who are doing this, these people are all day long. They've got the chair. When you've got the chair and you're 28, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? the gamer chair. Watch out for that. Anyway, I'm not trying to. There are a lot of people out there who are minding their own business gaming, so I don't want to make the same mistake as everybody else does and just assume, okay, the guy's a gamer, so all gamers are going to kill somebody. It's like, no. But this guy clearly has a twisted kind of. He's been intaking a lot of different information and has been unable to process it in any kind of valuable way. I think that's pretty clear from his manifesto, but it doesn't really tell us anything. But believe me, what's going to happen is with this manifesto, as you've already seen, is that the news media is picking only the parts it likes. It's not going to go and research, hey, Spyro the Dragon 3. They're not going to blame Spyro the Dragon 3. You're not going to see some or is it Spyro? I don't know. Sorry. Is it Spyro? Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of.
My son's played every single one of those games.
Yeah,
every one of them. Yeah.
Fortnite, everything else. I mean, some of them are pretty damn violent. Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I mean,
way more than when we were kids.
Oh, golly, yeah. I mean, I didn't have those things when I didn't even have. I mean, I think Pong came out when I was a kid. We had Pong and
beep.
Well, boop. What was the game with the blocks? You shoot at the blocks. Tetris, yeah.
Man, that's good stuff.
Yeah, we had that, and we had that other one where you bounce stuff and it's like a wall. I don't know. And the way we amused ourselves is I'd take an army man, light a McDonald's straw on fire, and watch it drip on him. That was about as violent as I got. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was fun too.
Oh, I'd do that today.
Me too.
Let's do that after the show.
Let's do that.
Okay.
You think the sprinklers would go off in here if we did that?
I didn't mean it in here.
Oh. No, we'll go out and do it on somebody's car. All right. Anyway, it's 9:53. I got a break here. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Glock days are back at Danny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th. Our Glock representative and a Glock armorer will be on site to answer questions or discuss your Glock firearm needs. The first 50 Glock handguns purchased will receive a free Glock range bag during the event. Sight upgrades are available for Glocks, and with a sight purchase, it can be installed on your Glock free of charge. Stop by and take advantage of the huge savings during this event on all Glock firearms, parts, and accessories. Friday and Saturday, March 15th and 16th, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods at 1 Gravois Road in Fenton. Give them a call at 636-349-9447. 636-349-9447. Glock days are back at Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton, Missouri, March 15th and 16th.
Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton is celebrating Glock Days. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to get in on their specials.
All right, folks, I will tell you, Dentistry with TLC and Dr. Anna Smith and her husband, Travis, who is the proprietor of CPAPsucks.com, and DentistryWithTLC.com, CPAPsucks.com are going to get you all to the right places. But either way, it's a family-run operation over there in the Metro East, really easy to get to, and on top of that, super convenient. This is where the TLC comes in, tender love and care, even if it relates to your time. So I'll give you an example. You go there and get your teeth cleaned or whatever it happens to be, and you know what happens? If she finds a cavity or signs of maybe some gum issues or maybe even a little sign of gum disease, she can go ahead and tackle it right there. She doesn't make you come back. She doesn't make you schedule another appointment and come back. And oftentimes she can get you, Dr. Anna can get you in the same day. And if she can't, she'll put $50 in the till for your next visit as a credit for you. So that's really the challenge. But she loves the challenge. All of her people there are very passionate about what they do and very passionate about making sure everything is comfortable and convenient for you. She's got 15-minute root canals. I mean, this is pretty amazing, and she does it pain-free as well. So that whole concept of the annoying, terrible root canal is no longer a part of your dentistry if you go to Dentistry with TLC. DentistryWithTLC.com. And CPAP Sucks is a great one, too, because they have all kinds of great mouth appliances to use that will keep you your passageways open, so you don't have to put that bag over your head, because CPAP, the CPAP is a bummer for a lot of people, and this will help you and get through that. And she also has a dental plan for you, $19 a month, and that's a great one too. Covers a lot of different things for you, including teeth cleanings, regular teeth cleanings, and visits. Check it out on the web, DentistryWithTLC.com or CPAPSucks.com.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get first-hand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Rick Pogue here with Arrowhead Building Supply, the region's #1 specialty exterior building supplier. Arrowhead has the widest range of exterior products, from the most economical and commodity items to our highest-end outside elegance collection. If you need a contractor, Arrowhead supplies products to hundreds of the best contractors and builders in the business. Call us for a contractor referral and rest easy. The Arrowhead Cube Home Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change it with just a touch of your finger. Now you can be 100% confident in your selections before they are installed in your home. Our product showrooms are the largest and most beautiful in the industry. We make it simple to experience a full range of siding, roofing, window, door, deck, and even stone options for your home or business. Check us out at arrowheadbuildingsupply.com or visit an Arrowhead showroom near you today in St. Peters, Missouri, Peewee, Missouri, and Fairview Heights, Illinois. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success.
arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
Larry Elder, tonight at 5. Now, back to Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
All right. Amazingly enough, we are 2 weeks in already to the brand new Allman in the Morning show, and really appreciate all of you listening and watching. Got the YouTube channel going on and everything else. And you can also download the Answers app at theanswerstl.com so you can stream us and be part of the show that way. Really appreciate Tammy Mitchell-Hines and company for their support on the listener line. Thank you so much to Arrowhead Building Supply for the studio. It is beautiful, and thank you for the sponsorship there. And thank you to all my folks who are supporting the show, and I hope you support them too, because we are back, and it looks like for good, right? Right on. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will talk to you on Monday. It's Common Sense Radio.